workshop is now called to order. Everybody ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we will. Commissioner Moore, if you would please lead us in our invocation. Stand if you are able. Oh. I didn't be probably not on there.
Okay, let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, once again, we want to thank you for allowing us to come together. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for waking us up to a brand new day, one we've never seen and we won't see again. We ask that you give us grace and mercy. Help us to do those things that are pleasing and not in your sight. And Lord, we ask you to bless each and every one of us that are present on today. Give us strength, understanding, and knowledge to do your will. In all these blessings, we ask in our Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. And we ready to get started?
We did print up some updates, Mayor, and that's on the dais for you. I know you probably have some notes of what we had discussed before as well. A lot of those changes were made and are observed in these new copies that we have. We can start at any one that you want, but I don't know what's at the top of your list. I have wastewater. If you want to start with wastewater. Or if you have.
What there was gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Mayor, can I get that clarification before we start?
Sure.
Just for the city manager. Okay, so the printouts that you just handed out, they have some changes from what we were given over the weekend.
Correct.
Okay.
We found some errors in some of the tiebacks to some wrong cells that were utilized for the basis of our, for what we utilize in the budget. So instead of being tied back to, let's say, 2025 amended budget, it was tied back to a different allocation, different cell, and we found the error. The numbers are still pretty close, but we just wanted to make sure that it was right.
Okay, all right, just, I guess if it comes to any place crucial as we go along, if you could point out if we made an update.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna start with gas. We can start from the top and move down. These items, I believe have a 0 in them. The actual dates, and we want to talk to those charges for services on the utility tax for Pomona, those franchise fees, and Walaka.
Those are just pastors.
The pastors, correct. Okay, so we have a note on there on the side. The next one is the gas sales non-tax residents. I've gotten schooled on this and learned a little bit about this because originally on the note, it just talked about a charge. These charges that you see here at $16 is the current minimum charges, meaning that you can go up from that. And as well, there was no note on there that usage was part of this. So I added that note as well to be clear, because if you do the math, it's very much lower than what we have. And you can see that we've taken in so far year to date on June, $386,108. We have included our number to have a increase from the unaudited 2024 at 434. And so we're budgeting 456,526 based on those numbers and the $16 minimum charge.
But when you look back at those unaudited numbers, we didn't have a $16 charge in place. That was new. So I think that seems like it's kind of low. Are we not gonna reach the budget for this year? 527?
Well, that's a 527, and I think you did that through your cell, correct?
Correct.
You were doing,
Originally we added, but again, here's where we're at with this and kind of lesson learned from before. We didn't want to overshoot on revenue. So we're trying to be as conservative as possible. We utilize the known numbers for 2024 and not necessarily even a year-to-date or a projected number, which we, thank God, took that out of this spreadsheet, so we don't get confused on projections. But we went with a known number, felt that it was safe to do for the 2024 unaudited version, and then put our increase on that. So 456 is the number we came up with. If you want to add, we can. I can put in the adopted budget for 2025. I'm not sure, can't speak to exactly what we're gonna have. I know that currently up to June, we've taken in $386,000.
Which were 43,732 over where we were last year at the same time.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Okay, Mayor, I have a question. So, and this is what I meant by please flag it. So in line 9 in gas, for gas sales, you made an adjustment in the budget for 2026 that was quite a bit lower than what we had on Saturday. And so then, instead of $0 increase or decrease, it's now a $70,000 decrease.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you go on to page 5, looking at the net position, instead of a positive 60,732 net position in the black, it's projecting a 43,346 negative net
Which we
position.
can't be, where we can't have that.
Yes, and we do have a couple things that we are working on as well, such as our insurance costs for healthcare, which will have an impact and a savings. This does include our new insurance totals that we received from Brown & Brown, and that was allocated as well. And again, this is the first round for us to have that discussion. I feel that we could modify those revenues, but to be on the safe side, we should probably look at it at more of a conservative look on the revenues.
On the revenues.
On the revenue.
And that means when we go into the expenditures, we're gonna have to look at some areas where we can back off possibly on the expenditures.
Yes, ma'am.
Does Steve believe that well, Steve's not here.
Steve just ran out real quick just to get Dave in case there's some questions
Okay.
with the gas, so he can answer those.
I
But
mean, I think the biggest question is, we shot high, 527 last year. We're only at this point 43,000 over where we were this time
yes, ma'am.
last year, at the same time we were making this decision.
Yes, ma'am.
So does he believe that we're gonna come in at the 527, or does he believe we're gonna come in lower? And our biggest gas usage has probably already occurred,
Mhm.
because that would be, is that correct, Dave? Our biggest gas usage is during the winter months.
Yes, most definitely.
So our biggest gas usage has already occurred.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're seeing that.
As far as this budget, yes.
Okay. So right now, you budgeted last year 527,000 is what we budgeted. Steve, what are your thoughts, given where we currently stand? Are we gonna reach that? Because if you feel that we're gonna reach that, then probably we're gonna reach it this coming year.
I don't know, what do you think about that, Dave? We budgeted $527,000 last year, and as of June, we're at $386,000, so,
there's 3 months.
There's 3 months of the year, but they're the hottest,
right, they're our lowest consumption, most definitely. And, it's really gonna be based on the cost of the gas and everything, because I mean, our markup's gonna be the same, but we could just barely make it, or we might be a little short. We might be a little short.
It might be short. Okay. So is there a more reasonable number if we were to go up from this 456, 526? Do you have somewhere, should we come somewhere in the middle between that and the 527?
That would be comfortable to go somewhere in the middle, because the consumption is gonna be about the same. I mean, the cost, like I said, doesn't really matter because the markup is the same, but, I don't see any big load changes, to be honest with you. The only thing that would make any difference would be our generators. If there's ever a hurricane, we've got 225 generators out there, so it can make a big spike for that month, but, I don't want to see that.
I was gonna say, that's not good too.
And what is our billing for this last month? Do we know? What did we bill for gas?
I think it was like 15,000 is what, well, that's what our bill was.
Yeah,
Well, about
okay,
15.
but we bill our customers, because we're looking at the gas sales in the budget.
So where
I'm
would
just
we,
wondering, if you have 3 more months, if we base it on what,
Excuse me?
June
for
was.
the month of June, do we know what the billing was for the month of June?
I'd have to get with, I don't know off the top of my head.
Would Jocelyn know?
Yes, it was like 15.8, I can go look it up.
That's what we billed out to our customers?
No, that's what we.
Okay, so that's what did we, that,
Yeah,
I guess
what
we
did we
need,
bill?
what did we bill
What
out
we
to our
got,
customers?
I do not have that number.
Okay, would Jocelyn have that?
I can go look, I've got it right now.
Yeah.
So you want which month, June?
June,
Yeah.
yeah, which was, is that what projects?
Or even July, if she has July, that would even be better, by chance she has July.
Yes, it just came out.
Is it we, times 3?
That'll kind of give us more of an idea.
So we want to go along way.
We can, do you have, you wanna continue?
Sure, we can continue. If we go to the next line item there, that's gonna be our gas sales taxable commercial. That is sales and usage as well. This number, we treat it a little bit differently. We went with the, to be on the safe side of that, with the adopted budget 2025, so we held that number at 146,796. We've collected 105 up to this point on that.
And this is commercial.
Yes, commercial.
Because that also, we raised the minimum charges on that one too. So I would think that we're gonna meet that budget
Yes.
and we'll continue to.
Any questions on that one? Okay. The gas sales, commercial, non-taxes is our churches and schools, fire department, city hall, et cetera. We had an increase on that. That is, of course, usage plus minimum, that's $20 charge, is the minimum charge on that. We had, budgeted 61,000 in 2025, and, we're up to 56,000 as of June. 64,000 is the number we put in there for that, for the budget for 26.
And Mayor, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So we've asked Florida Gas Utilities to do a rate study, and I think we discussed it, but I don't remember if we revised our rates to help us cover the cost of operations.
Not yet.
What-
We're waiting for the results.
No, no, I know.
Yeah.
But I'm
So this
So
is
saying,
all-
she said, I think she said if we revise
if
the rates.
rates did,
Okay.
right. So, I'm not remembering what the potential time frame of that would be. Like, would it hit midway through the fiscal year? Did we say 6 months? That it would take us to do that? When Ms. Hall was here.
No, that was-
I know, I thought
That's good.
she's gonna try to bring it back to us, and we
Right.
would have it for the budget,
Right.
so that we could possibly add it, figure it out into the budget. Now,
Right. I'm just kind of trying to bring this forward. It's, as I understand it, so I wanna make sure that I've got the right idea here. The rate study is to let us know, what we would need to charge to cover the cost of operations. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were gonna do the rate study, bring it back to us, and then, now that I'm thinking about it, and I could be wrong, I thought they said that we could do, I may be thinking of another issue, that we could get that accomplished for the next fiscal year within like a 6-month timeframe, but I may be thinking of some other issue.
no, I think we could do it sooner.
We could do it sooner.
I think
Okay,
we could do it sooner.
So-
And then if that's the case, if we come in and we determine we need to,
right,
if we need to adjust, we could adjust later on.
exactly, but Dave is out of the room right now. My next question, or my overall question for Dave is, a lot of our expenses for the gas department are pretty fixed, of employee salaries, and the equipment is very expensive, and, I wanted to say this when Dave was in the room, I mean, there's just, they're constantly on top of, improving, bringing things up to date, meeting the industry standard. So, I was gonna ask Dave, where would he recommend we make a cut? It's hard. But he'll be back.
So when we go back, when he comes back in, I want to ask him about this, because when you go back historically and we look at our gas sales, non-commercial, non-tax, which is our churches, our, our schools, we didn't meet, we set that the year, in 2023, let me see, we set it at 58,000. I'm sorry, came in at 50,690. 2024, we set it at 58,000. We came in at 43,676. And this time last year, we were at 34,214. This time, we're at 56,117. So that's about 22,000, almost 22, just short of 22,000 more this year. Making us closer, which also surpasses the unaudited of 43,000. There was a drop in 2024. And so I'm wondering what happened in 2024 and what has spiked it this year to where it is where it is. So when Dave comes in, I would like to know that. And I'm of the opinion, I don't know where everybody else is, that, with this, you're concerned, especially with the revenue, that we be as conservative as we can so that we don't have a shortfall.
I agree, Mayor.
So we're not in a situation. I know there's formulas out there to use, but, if we need to, if he feels like we need to bump that up, in that one,
I think all of this, we're probably have to talk about if we're gonna rate study and rate adjustment.
we would have to when that comes in.
I mean, it's kind of silly to sit here and look at it now until we get the rate study.
Well, no, it's not silly, because we might not get that rate study in time for the budget, and we've got to have something.
Right.
So it's not silly.
But I mean, it'll go up, is what I'm saying, because we're gonna increase the rates. That's what the rate study's gonna say.
Right, but Mayor, if I could,
Yes.
I think it's beneficial for us to understand where we are now before the rate study comes in. And at least we know how we sit with the current rates, and we understand the ins and outs. Like you've raised the question, what is the reason for a drop? And you're talking about 912, aren't you? When you say it went from
Yes.
$50,000 in '23 to, and that is unaudited in 2024, but it should be reasonably accurate.
Yes.
Um,
And that was because we budgeted for that 58,000.
Oh, where do you see that?
I saw that. I have my old budget.
Okay, you're, all right, it's not on this page, okay.
So we budgeted 58 for 2024, and we came in at 43,676, which is significant. That's almost $12,000 difference.
Right.
Short of what we budgeted for.
So is it possibly a warmer winter, maybe that's as simple as it is. Dave would know when he gets back.
Well,
Well,
no,
it
we
was,
had storms last year too, keep in mind that.
right. Well, it was for churches and schools, maybe it was warmer on Sundays, who knows? We have very cyclical weather. It's hard to say. And I don't know what proportion it is.
The gas sales for residential were fine, and it went up. It was just schools and non-taxable.
Like I said, maybe it was warmer on the weekend.
Hey, Dave.
Okay, sorry about that. In June, we billed out $52,590.
How was that just residential?
That's everything, that's the whole bill.
Okay.
And then in July, we billed out $48,346.
That's in total.
Yes, that's our gas sales, that's also the minimums, because just in June alone, the minimums were over 21,000 minimums, and that's the $16 and the $20.
So how much, 21,000 is the minimum?
For June, it was $21,276, that's the $16 and the $20
So
fee.
it's commercial and residential minimum.
does she, I hate to ask her this, but does she have it broken down into residential? Can she do it into residential,
I'm sure she can.
commercial?
Yeah, because on our line items here has gas sales, non-tax resident, gas sales, taxable commercial.
And
And
a lot of that, the non-taxable and all that, there's a lot of stuff in there that needs to be stripped out of the budget, the way it's verbalized, it's crazy the way,
yeah,
it's just,
it's confusing.
and a lot of it's confusing, and it's just, most of it, if it's commercial, okay, schools, churches, things like that, they're non-taxable, but most of it's gonna be taxable, but,
Yeah.
as far as a complete breakdown.
Probably done that way because it goes up, possibly because it's up into the utility taxes that up in the top.
Sure, if she doesn't
They have
complete,
to be able to do that.
if she does a complete print, it's about 30 pages long.
Yeah.
You know, so, and she can strip it all up for you. I mean, when I do my calculations, I divide them up by residential, commercial, in-town, out-of-town rates, and come up with a cost. I control the minimums to figure out what that cost is. But as far as the taxes and all that, I don't include that in my reports either to government, because they'll say, is this tax
That's a
or non?
pass.
And I will say, there's no tax involved in this. Come back to somebody else for it, and they're fine with it, because they know it's real numbers, none of it's tax.
So I guess if we can, how long would it take her to get us to break that down by residential and commercial?
As far as June, I'm sure she already, well, she may already have both of them, I can go back and talk to her, she'll have to highlight it, but.
Okay.
So you want to know residential, commercial, in and out,
And
Because we're trying to figure out, where we need to be, from a revenue stream, where we are currently
sure,
as we go forward for these next couple of months.
but are you
For
wanting
each one,
just gas sales only,
yes,
and not minimum,
No.
just the gas sales only?
Bill, how
combined
much
sales
was
and
billed?
usage, yeah.
Yeah, how much was billed to residential and how much was billed to
Okay.
the commercial?
And then non-tax.
And then non-tax commercial, which is your churches and schools.
So those three numbers is what
Let
we're.
me go talk to her, see what she can.
Thank you.
And tell her thank you for this. Alright. We're sending him into the lines then.
Jocelyn's very.
No, I know, I just, I don't know for years.
Okay, while we're waiting on that, do we want to go into, I guess you're keeping the service fee, you dropped that $600
Yes,
from the service fee, okay. Last year, at this time, we were at 18,086, this year we're at 25,378, but we still didn't meet the budgeted service charge of 29,000. Looks like our unaudited came in at 23,306 for 2024. So, okay,
Something happened in 2024.
something happened.
But we've also increased we increased that as well, I thought. The service charge, we increased that last year.
Yeah,
So for 2025, it should be higher. That's why we're in a better position.
Yeah, I take longer showers now. That's my contribution.
We appreciate
The best I
that.
can do.
Always pulling together.
Mayor, while we're waiting for Dave, I have one note that I would like to share with the city manager. There's, for every enterprise fund, there's a footnote on the first page that says the non-recurring grant revenue was excluded from total revenues in order to get a clear picture of how much revenue the department is generating. I really appreciate that being done, so that, when you mix the grant revenues in, it skews your idea of the normal revenue for the normal operating charges.
that's
So-
a standard footnote, we had it in last year's budget.
yeah, that was Charles,
Yeah.
right?
We haven't always had that, and it's very helpful.
We'll continue.
So, because you wanna know, well, I think I had mentioned that before, but you wanna know how you're doing on your regular operating income. And then, of course, grant is nice, but it doesn't usually help with regular operations.
Right.
So that's really helpful.
And I guess when he gets back in, there's more, we'll come back to this. Why don't we go over to our expenses? Yes.
Okay, I was just gonna say at the bottom of that page, the pipeline hazardous material safety administration, that is,
The agenda.
yes, I got an answer on the $1.5 million. So this was something that FGU, went after. The grant was released approximately June. FGU is gonna hold on to those funds. And what they do is they hold the funds, they send a bill, we pay that back with a 10% interest. It's kind of like a grant loan through them, but that's what the $1.5 million is right there.
And that's to rebuild regulator stations
Correct.
in Crescent City, Lacoma, Florida, Barcalaka, and San Mateo.
So Mayor, I have a question
Yes.
about that. So where does the 10% interest come from? Is that
That's what I was, yeah, where does that 10%
Where'd it come from?
interest? Do we have that over here in the,
Should be in there.
oh, I saw something.
I think they take that
Out of the money.
Out of the actual pod.
Interest debt service, it
No,
looks
it's,
like, that's the 5%, that's the 5% on the steel gas. I'm wondering if that's where interest expense, FGU, gas line of credit, if that's where it needs to go, where it's been zeroed out. So if that's where it's gonna have to go, we're gonna have to talk to Dave about that, because that seems like that would be the line for that, because it's going to FGU. So we're gonna have to put that into our expenses.
Which line item are you on, Mayor?
You're on line 62.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But there's, what on earth was it, where do they loaning us the money? Isn't there something else besides the PHMSA grant?
Well, they were doing it for the DOT.
The
For the
DOT.
For the tree removal?
Well, no, for the 4-lane from Dunn's Creek Bridge to San Mateo. When we moved the gas line, they were lending us money and the FDOT was paying back that and the interest.
But
They're also
here-
doing it for, I think, for this coming year, they're doing it for, we just approved them doing that to hold it.
I think it's for the tree clearing for the
Yes.
safety.
Yes.
Right, we were going to be paying them
Yes.
something back
Yes.
for that.
They're charging us interest on that.
Right, it's a good rate,
$9,000, yeah.
right, it's a good rate, but that has to be reflected somewhere. I mean, that's the best rate we could get.
Are we moving on to expenditures under personnel services?
Mayor, I have one more question
Yes,
in
ma'am.
this general area. So on line 64, which is right near what we were talking about, it says bond interest that we pay. Wait a minute, are we done with that? Are there zeros in there for the bond interest?
Yes.
Okay, so what did we pay off?
Yeah.
It looks like where it says interest, the debt service on 61, it looks like that should probably be down like where bond interest is.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, something got moved, because on my, I'm looking at the new copy, I think.
Yeah.
On my prior copy,
Yeah, that's.
so we haven't paid it off.
Line 64, yeah, we haven't paid it off.
Okay, so my question was, what is the outstanding,
Right.
balance?
So bond interest last year was line 62, and it was the unaudited. We didn't have anything for 2024, nor did we have anything for 2025.
Yeah, it jumped up, they got moved to the wrong line.
Interest on.
On line 64, we didn't have any bond interest.
No, that was a
I
grant.
remember talking about this last year, wasn't there a reason why we moved that line when we did it?
Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi.
I'll brought her in, she can
Good
explain
morning,
it to you.
Jocelyn. We're just keeping you on your toes first thing in the morning.
I'm telling you, somebody's gotta keep me on the toes.
Thank you so much for just dropping everything and helping us with this.
We appreciate that.
You have questions about the breakdown?
But we were trying to,
Unless I print them individually on reports, then it's not gonna break down. On these two reports, it breaks down to the individual, totals, just the totals for, like, inside the city limits of Pomona Park, inside the city limits of Willaca, because they have the same rates that we do. And inside the city limits of Crescent City would all be separate totals. Commercial is, we have non-taxable and taxable. Your non-taxable is gonna be your schools, your churches, and things of that nature. And the rest taxable would be your restaurants and stuff like that.
and so can you tell us what we billed out for the last month in each one of those categories. It's like on the budget, we have a line item for gas sales, residential, and that's everywhere apparently. And then gas sales taxable for commercial and the non-taxable commercial. Those are the 3 lines. And we're just trying to estimate through the end of the year how much revenue we're gonna get in.
Okay, so you want the totals, because I have a report that does that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, what you got?
One's for June,
Or you can just read it out to us, you don't have to give it to us.
I was gonna make copies for both, but they didn't understand it, it was my, so I can't, I just. So here you have your gas residential, here's your total.
That's why I asked her.
Here's your total.
Okay.
That's everybody inside and out.
And that was for June, correct?
That was for
July or June?
June.
June, so that was June, so we're at 27,175.63.
That includes the minimum charge in there too?
That includes one.
Okay, so every.
Great, so that's already in there, so if we were to add,
This one's
Yeah.
July.
Okay,
So the residential, we can build 1,007.
okay,
And
Then
then
okay.
you have your gas sales residential outside of Crescent
so
City.
that's an
Okay.
additional 81, possibly
Yeah, you
81,526.
would have to add the totals together. Then I can do that if you want.
so is this,
There's different cycles, that's
Yeah.
why it's to create, you can do an Excel
well,
spreadsheet.
because now each one's a different rate, right, so it does have to do that.
So at an estimation on that, we're probably, it might be closer to 460, 460.
Okay,
Because we charge them now franchise fees,
Okay.
so they get the same.
So then they get the same rate.
As in the contract.
right,
Right, so.
and so then we can charge a different rate to out, if you're out of the cities, we charge a higher rate,
Yes.
because we're not to do that.
I think it's like 5 cents difference,
Okay.
5 or 6 cents difference.
Okay.
But that's the total, correct, for everybody?
This is the total for gas residential, but you
Okay.
have to add the rest of them too, if you wanted a full total.
When you say add,
It's depending on exactly how you want it broken down.
we just want the full, we just want the full
All
residential,
residential.
all residential.
You gotta add
So
it
you would
the next
actually
line
have
too.
to add this one to it.
Yes, well,
This one to it.
So yeah, so that's from the part.
Yeah, if you could look that up, John.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
16 plus that,
Okay, so,
So yellow
I
goes.
was, because it does do.
I know there's a equation.
63 plus, here, plus 820. Well, that's what's doing this, so 820, and then 156.60, no, okay, that's commercial.
That's commercial. Here's the residential. Okay. 14.57.
Okay,
Residential will not have that. Yeah, the bottom one,
Commercial.
the last one, yeah.
Yep, there you go. It's all right.
okay, so that's, hold on,
Sorry.
that's okay,
27.56.
okay. So that's it, so we're at 32,346.85 for,
That was June,
that was June's number
so let's just,
For what?
for gas residential.
for gas
Yeah,
residential.
so we just assume times 3 for next 3 months.
So that's 97, so that would be about 97,000,
Mhm.
um, 40, 55, plus where we are currently.
386 one way.
So that's 483,148.55. And we already believe, didn't you say, Dave, that July seemed to come in lower?
This is July right
Just a
here.
hair.
It's just a hair, it's like
That's
2,000 lower on the first.
Oh, you've got July, yeah.
Yeah.
the only reason why July and August changes because the schools are closed, they're not burning any gas. That's what I think really changes the system itself.
Retro first.
This is.
Right, right, and that's, yeah, okay. Right.
Can't afford it here.
And then 44 for,
Yeah, exactly.
No, then you just 44.
Gas tax and commercial, so that's.
we can go back in there.
Okay, and then that's it, right, for residential.
Here, that's here.
And Jocelyn, your numbers do include the 16, the $20
Yes,
minimum?
that's the billing total
Cool.
that's there, not the usage total.
Okay.
However, the usage is shown on there as well.
Thank you. That actually helps a lot. In case we sell more gas and light and just blow
We
it
do
hard.
sell a lot of gas
And
and
outside.
insurance for us,
Oh, yeah.
stuff like
I
that.
have several restaurants.
Thank you.
So Mayor, after the meeting, can everybody have the sheets that Jocelyn?
Yeah, where's the rest of July? Do you have
It's
that?
right here.
Where's all of it?
There should be 3 days.
There's no,
There's
there's no more on that one.
residential.
So that came in at 30,352.04 for July, which is right, almost $2,000 less than June.
Mhm.
So I think if we use that 30,352 or 30,350
Right.
Number,
Okay, so where's that correction exactly?
We're looking at residential sales.
Yeah,
so then let's look
Line
at,
nine.
let's just look at,
Yes.
so when we go to commercial, so here we are with commercial, this is the non-tax.
See the NT,
Yeah,
it's non-tax.
And we're doing
And then you have the
sidewalk.
taxable.
well, it's taxable right now.
You the first one to,
Let me get the first one.
so there's the second line down, the gas. Or that's residential.
That's
No,
not
it's not.
tax, it's right here, looks like this is the first one.
Yeah, that's the first house.
That's
236.
yeah.
So here we go, Jocelyn, so that's taxable, gas sales, commercial, that's taxable.
There should be.
Commercial, non-tax. We still want to make sure we're still in July. Commercial, that's. And that's not taxable, so that's 11,749, 11,749.27.
Times 35,000.
That's 35,247.
Times 3.
Yeah.
That's 105, right?
No, it's 35,000.
So then let's look at our non-taxable here, where we go, that's July, June,
No, you have June, this is July. You're doing June.
okay. Okay, so with June, non-taxable,
That's a pretty small number, right? There's a small category, right?
Yeah, a lot of churches, but yeah, it's not.
And the schools, right?
non-tax.
Yeah, the schools, churches.
And right now, the school's out. I mean, the school's back in now, so
Right, so
Down,
this
down,
kind of
because
wants to show half.
all their cooking and all that they do with gas.
They can't have that go now.
That was all.
It's back on, I believe. Is the gas back on at the high school?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's back
Fiesta.
on.
There was
They had to reroute everything, didn't they, for the construction?
There was crazy things going on up there.
Well, it's some of their contractors, you know, it's like,
It's a,
I don't want to say, I don't know if I'm like, but
they tend to run everything, it just shows all the plans and the drone shots, it's amazing though. It's gonna be beautiful schools and stuff.
well, there's a lot of temporary infrastructure hanging from walls and here and there, and it's like, you
Yeah, but we
can't
don't,
do that.
that's kind of that's a pass through.
Dave, what was the shortfalls in 2024? Why was that so different from what was
Plus
budgeted?
customers,
I think.
get a bit of hot water heaters, don't know what hot water heaters, you know,
Then they get
and they don't stick with gas, you know.
Is that,
Or
is
just losing customers, I mean, it's not that they don't like us anymore, they sell the house and
that, did you find out how many customers we had in 23 versus 24? Okay, thank you. Dave was saying the possible decline in the revenues in 24 was people left gas and went to electric.
Yeah, because I mean, our profit margin's the same, but if a customer sells their house and it stays empty, there's nobody burning gas, there's a meter there, but they're just not using gas. Or they pull out an old trailer from the seventies, most trailer companies do not offer gas anymore, it's electric only on trailers. So they're not gonna fight them, they're gonna go all electric. So, but the power lobbyists have deep, deep pockets and they're spreading their money, so
Okay.
ours aren't as deep.
So, Mayor, could I ask a question while we're calculating, you're calculating, thank you. My question was, that was one of my, that I had here, there's wonderful data on your page 2 of the gas department information, but that was exactly my question, it says we have 1,300 active customers. So, I was wanting to know, is that a change up or down from the prior year?
It's averaging about the same. I mean, we gain 5, we lose 2. I mean, and a lot of that data that you get where we lost customers, we lost them over 10 years ago. But the Public Service Commission says after 10 years, you have to abandon the service, actually terminate it. So then we lost this customer. That's why I say 1,300 active, but we actually had like 1,425, but at least 100 of them were up to be killed.
Well, and to me, I think it's right to say just the active, because we're
Yes.
budgeting.
Yes, it's staying about the same.
Right, so you don't think it's necessary to go back and get the number, like the city manager was saying, how many actives did we have in 2023 or 24, but you're saying about the same.
Yes, within 10, within only 10, it changed. This year we put in 14 services. Last year we put in 12, but the year before we put in 32. So, but the active stays about the same. And Joslin's billing report shows that it varies maybe 3 customers through the year up and down. And that's because they're there, but they're off final. Snowbird comes in winter, okay, it's active now, but the service is there, it's just not active.
Sure, and like you're saying, the seasonal really makes it hard to pin that down.
Especially right now. Now, come about November, we'll probably get our highest point per month as far as active customers.
Sure.
And it'll vary, and then come spring, it'll start to drop off.
What's the spread? Like how many more customers do we have active during the winter months than we do now?
Maybe 25 at the most.
I wonder if that's the same with water.
Water, yeah, much more customers will water.
You know, something else, and I found this out this past week, and we're constantly, you know, with Dave telling him, you know, we need to add more customers, we need to add more customers. There's a house being built right on the outskirts of town, and had dinner with them, and they're also rehabbing Melissa's house, they bought that house. And they have a guest house. So they have 3 houses that they want to put gas to that do not have gas. They're right on the outskirts of town. Can't get it. Well, they can get it. I did get your numbers, and she sent the email. It would cost just to run the line with no labor included, was $19,000, just to run the line to the driveway. And so that's where we are running into a big issue.
Sure.
I mean, that's right on the outskirts of town.
And there's no markup on any of that cost, that's the exact cost, no markup. And most of that is from the directional board company,
Yeah.
which we've lost another one. I just got another bid from another board company. We were charging $250 for a customer to get up underneath the road.
Uh-huh.
They want $560 now to go from one side of an asphalt road to another.
Right.
And they were gonna do, they do stove, water, I mean, they do everything gas and generator.
Sure.
So they wanted all 3 houses to have that, and it's just,
You would be looking at least 10 years to break. If we said we were gonna do it all ourselves, not charge them, other than the driveway, it'd be at least 10 years to make money off of it.
now on the other side, right behind them, that, what is that road?
Oh,
Pike.
Pike Road.
Yeah.
Well, they even estimated from that, and it would be more expensive.
They have it down there.
Really improving there.
They have it down there.
Mayor, one observation I have,
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Thank you very much. While you're on that point of some locations are basically inaccessible for serving new customers unless they're willing to pay a very exorbitant fee. We have lots in Crescent City. Crescent City is down in population from what it used to be. We have vacant lots that are served by water and sewer. And I have felt for some time that it would be important not just to market our gas service, because that's not economically feasible everywhere unless there's subdivision, but it would make sense to market in-town Crescent City as a good place to buy a lot that has utilities, because there's a much higher likelihood if someone buys a lot in town and there are a lot of vacant lots with driveways and sidewalks and no house, much more likely that those people will become a gas customer. And that would help us. That would help us in two ways. They would help pay for everything else that we provide in services and gas. So just a reminder that we also can market our home sites in town.
In Crescent City too, probably 90% of the streets in Crescent City have a gas main on them. Now, they may be on the other side of the street, which therefore is that $560 charge. But if they have a neighbor next door to them, maybe we can come off of that. But that's really the target area Crescent City needs to look at, is the areas where we already have infrastructure, work on those. And preferably not Lake Crescent Estates because it's under the water. It's just a nightmare. Dunn's Creek isn't much better, but water it's a major problem, but Crescent City is high in the grass sand here, but.
Yeah.
But you want your customers, no matter what you can do, but it's just harder to get it around.
Well, and I mean, gas was originally provided in town because you had houses close together.
Sure.
So there you go. But the thing
Okay,
is.
let's go,
Yeah.
let's go back to this, because let's
Sure.
go back to our budget if we can. Let's go, so now we're at non-tax residents, and it looks like from this guesstimate, of where we are currently, you probably maybe right in that 470, 475 range.
Okay.
Commission, how do you feel about that? That would add probably, if he was to go to 475, just to be conservative.
You've been crunching the numbers and you feel good
It's,
about
I've
that.
got 477, 158, but that's, so I think if we go to 475,
Okay, and you're saying that would be, what line would we plug that into?
that would be on line 9.
Okay,
I've notated that. We'll take care of that.
non-tax, so we want that for non-tax residents? Okay.
And then that's gonna take us, so
that leaves more like a $50,000 negative.
yeah, that's an $18,000, $474 difference. So, so if you take 874 minus 18, 474, so that's, hold on, I messed that up. I'll write down my 8. 52,400.
Is the new negative.
Yes.
Okay, but if we say it's improved by 18,474, the negative net position on very
It's gonna
last
change by
page.
that, it will change by that, yes.
Wait, it will change, I thought it would change by 18,474.
It would.
Okay, yeah, but that still leaves quite a bit of negatively.
So then if we go to the next one, we go to our commercial, and we've got that at 146,796, and I'm estimating 149,68.
And we put 150 in there.
Well, no, I'm estimating 140.
Oh, 140, makes it
968,
49.
so
Okay.
that's just on the estimate. So what does everyone feel as far as where that's concerned with our commercial? Because I'm showing our commercial could be a possible 35,247 more than what we currently have. So you want to increase it from, we're talking about line 11, where currently it says 146,796, and you want to increase that?
I think we might either keep it the same or decrease it.
Yeah.
Cause I've come up with 149,688.
Okay, that's your new estimate.
Yeah.
I would keep it the same.
You mentioned the 30,000 something in there. I didn't know. where-
35,247 is
Projected
what we're
into the
projecting
revenue?
in revenue.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, projected in revenue. So we want to keep it the same. We came in at 135,833 last year. We did, so we can, that's up to the
We'll
commission.
just leave it where it is.
I would leave it the same.
Okay, so then when we come into our non-taxable, we're at 64,422. I'm estimating possibly 68,672. So the schools have come back in. I don't know, because we're gonna have probably a net loss. We're probably gonna have a loss in the commercial that we're not changing, and we might have an increase there. Right now, we're $4,000, a little over 4,000 over what we've projected. So do we want to keep that the same just in case, or do you want to go up to, last year? I mean, even in 2023, we came in at 50,590. 2024, 43,676, and we're at 56 now. And I did that estimate with
We're
that.
talking
with
just
that in
another
mind.
$4,000, correct?
Yeah.
I would say if it's within less than $5,000, we should just leave it the same, because we're just,
I
I
leave it.
really
think
just
so. I
estimating.
think so too.
Yeah, we're just estimating, and,
What's next?
it's tight budget.
Is the high school gonna be on generators, or are they gonna be connected to the gas for their heat when they finish those buildings? That's I'm sure that's a lot of income coming from
The
them.
only thing that runs heat and all that in the generator is only the cafeteria. Cafeteria and the main boiler.
Do you think that's gonna have an impact on this budget with them being down? Okay, I just wanted to.
It's back up, it's all
The
back
new
up.
school that's coming in, when does all that get turned on? That's gas, isn't it?
All the new school, no, none of it, it's all electric. Because the school now is all electric. The only thing that's gas is the cafeteria, the boiler room, and the backup generators. It's all it's ever.
What about the
What about the
elementary school?
Yeah.
The elementary school,
The new elementary school, it's pretty much gonna be kitchen only.
kitchen only, okay. And that's gonna come online in the fall of 2026.
Supposedly.
It's right towards the very end of our budget, okay.
Yeah, because that school, this elementary school now is kitchen only. So there will be kitchen only. They may have more appliances, they'll have a bigger generator, so they could use more gas. But as far as the school itself, it's all electric.
Okay.
So Dave, I just wanna ask you a question. Where we came in, and you might have already answered it when I was doing my equations, the churches and schools with a non-taxable commercial. We came in much lower in 2024 at 43,676.
Which line you at?
That's on line,
12?
12.
Okay.
When you look at, we had budgeted 58,000 because the year prior we'd come in at 50,690.
Mhm.
What do you think was that? I mean, that's churches and that's your nonprofits and churches and schools.
Most of the churches it's either heat or it's cook stoves.
Okay.
Most churches aren't doing breakfast anymore.
So that's,
Where I went, I
They're
know
not
the
doing
church,
it
they're not doing
anymore,
breakfast
yeah.
anymore. Your heat, it just depends on how cold it is, and does the cold fall on a Sunday? If cold falls on a Wednesday, they're not gonna have the heat running, but come Sunday, we gotta keep everybody warm and the views there, so.
I'm so proud of myself. That was just what I said. You never know where the cold front is.
Exactly.
never know when it's gonna be.
Because most places,
Cyclical.
they're really tight with their thermostats, they will turn them off. Which
Yes.
I've told them, I said, if you're concerned about your bill, turn the thermostats off, but.
Yeah.
But, they come in the day before, Saturday night, turn the heaters on, so they'll be warm come Sunday morning. But a lot of functions in their kitchens,
Yeah.
they're not having those functions anymore, so they're not using any gas.
That's true, that's not having that Wednesday night dinners and all of those that they used to have. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So we're going on to the next page. Oh, Dave, another question we had, down here with the grants.
Okay.
The 1.5. What happened with the one, remember last year that was the 7.3?
We haven't received
We
that.
haven't received that.
Well, we haven't been awarded.
I was gonna say, have we even been awarded? I didn't think we haven't.
The 1.5, we've been awarded, we don't have the money, the money's been released. But I don't think we ever are gonna have that in our pocket, that's gonna go through FGU. So when they bill us, say, on a $50,000 increments, they supply the money, we send it back to them, but we have to pay them interest on that because they're holding that line of credit for us, especially when it comes to the 7.5 million.
Yeah.
You know, that's all gonna go in their.
So that interest, where are we getting that interest?
That all comes from the grant.
So it doesn't cost us
That costs
anything.
it all comes from the grant.
So it's generated, that just doesn't, if it seems
It's just-
odd that if it's 1.5 and then you pay interest on that.
It's all part of the grant, you know, it's all.
So
it's
they pull it
perfectly
out
legal.
of the grant, so it's not a full 1.5, so they're gonna pull that interest out of that grant.
Exactly, along with the engineering, there's so many line items that get pulled out, it's like,
Okay.
oh, I got $1.25 left by the time everybody does all the.
Now, we didn't put the 7.3, we didn't put it in
Yeah.
this year, so you don't think
That's
that
still on the wish list,
That's still on
but
the
we'll
wish list.
know
Okay.
probably
just
in the
wanna
next
make
2
sure.
months.
There was
that's, any
also,
more questions on that page?
there was also
Yes.
a note that we added last night, Dave let me know about it, it's the one above that for the gas line relocation, if you could just a quick explanation for that, that was the $40,000 hold from the state.
That was the 4-lane project from Satsuma to Dunn's Creek that was completed back in, that was either December of 22 or January of 22. The project is complete, DOT put it on the side burner, that job was supposed to start 2024. They've kicked it back to like 2027, 2028 now. But when DOT sets a project, designs it, and you do your designing, and you build it, they have time to go, maybe we can make this better, and they mess things up, and they're already talking about that in the curve in Satsuma, because there's no bottom there, it's just a muck pit. They've never hit bottom there. So they're redesigning that, so it's probably gonna conflict us, so they put 40,000 aside, so if we have to move our brand new gas main, money is there, so DOT will have to pay for any changes to that.
Okay,
And I have not seen any final plans. Last I heard, they're talking about doing a low clearance bridge there, like Traxler's Pete out there in 100. There's a low bridge there because there's no bottom. And what they proposed was, even from not my standpoint, was a joke. And they told me I didn't know what I was talking about, but 2 years later, it's like, we can't do that.
Oh, I see.
So they're changing their minds.
okay, any other questions on page 1?
I think I did have it that, the interest debt service issue, we're paying interest on bond, right?
That's on another page.
What page?
I'm on page 1.
Okay, I thought we were
So,
talking about the
let's
area.
go back to page 1 if we can. Everybody on page 1?
Yep.
And then we're gonna go to, page 2. Do we have any questions on page 2?
Yes, I have one question. So, this good information, Dave calculated out that we average 325 customers per employee. We have 5 employees. Where does that put us? Do you have any idea, like how we compare to other gas utilities?
Gas utilities like us,
Right.
they may have 3, but the only problem is they would be like the size of Crescent City.
Yes.
We're spread out, we've got, like 134 miles of main and services, so
Yes.
we're spread out so far. PSC will not let us go under 4 employees. That doesn't count me sitting in the office, but actually in the field, you cannot go below 4 employees or they won't do a violation on us because we're so spread out.
Right.
So they're always on us about that.
So, well, I was assuming that we did a lot with few employees, and you're saying it's not just, you don't just rate it by average number of customers per employees, but is actual PSC standard for how many miles you're covering.
Well, it just how spread out you
Yes.
are. That's the issue. I mean, knowing the amount of customers, yes, you may need more if you're really like Palaca. They have like 5,000 customers just in Palaca. So here we are with 1,300, but we're spread out.
Right.
So that's what they're concerned about. And that's mostly if you have a major gas leak or a cut line,
Right.
how fast can you get there to
I
bring
know.
your employees through the system?
So, but I know how long it takes me to get to Schweppes, or, you know, wherever it is.
Yep.
going over, you know. Okay, that was all I have for that page, thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have anything on 2? If not, let's move on to 3. Okay, so we're on 3.
33. Yeah,
Um,
I have a question about line 33. Okay, so we budgeted $42,000 for life and health insurance, but it shows year-to-date June, we've only paid $7,278 of that. Is that normal? Do we pay it at the end of the year?
It's paid out quarterly.
It's paid quarterly, because that's,
It's just not allocated properly.
Oh, that's health insurance, that's not monthly.
and then we're budgeting the same for this year as we did, for last year, so we're thinking life and health will stay the same.
Actually, Sheila, I think, just got some quotes in for what we have for our health insurance, and she shared with me that it's actually looks like it's gone down. That it's possibly gone down for this year.
What you mean?
Also, yeah, we're waiting on a couple quotes and then she's gonna put together a little
Put together
spreadsheet so
to
we
make
can
sure,
see,
yeah.
yeah. And that's why we put on here, waiting on you quote. We will be updating these numbers based on the numbers we receive.
And I find it odd because last year, if you look, the year prior in 2023, we paid $38,220, and then last year, $11,134. What happened?
And that's something, when we were going through these numbers, we
Right.
saw, Steve's been digging into finding out what the issue is with that. And so we'll definitely have an answer to that. That's a question that we pose to ourselves as well.
Bills separately, but we take the number and then allocate it to each department.
Yeah, it
Correct,
just hasn't
So
been
it's just was
allocated
not
correctly,
allocated properly.
but we need to
Right.
make sure.
I have a question on line 27, the Christmas bonus. Why is it that we have budgeted for everyone to get a Christmas bonus and no one got one?
I saw that too. I had that on mine as well.
That's another allocation issue because we did get Christmas bonuses.
So you didn't? Okay, because it doesn't, none of them, doesn't show up in
Doesn't.
here.
It's not, it's not billed out of your
So I don't,
expenses. I would
that's good, I'm glad we
guess.
got Christmas bonuses. That was very good.
Well, I have a question too on the health insurance. Okay, I'm on Medicare. It's cheaper for y'all to pay my Medicare than to pay for my insurance. So when I leave, if an employee takes my place, if we go back to 5, is that gonna mess up your health insurance line? Won't be a drastic amount, but there will be some changes.
Well, it's gonna mess that up, but your Medicare line, that Medicare line will probably,
Kind of remain the same.
it'll probably be kind of a wash between the two.
Okay.
Hopefully it should be a wash, but thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Mayor, how is the wash if Medicare is cheaper for us than
Well, it won't be a wash,
conventional?
but hopefully if it goes down, if our insurance goes down,
Mhm.
It won't be so much of
It's not the
an
biggest
increase.
Right.
shock.
won't be that big of a shock. It won't be an equal wash, but it should be close. When you have in here, let's go back up to our salaries and, where we have in here, what do you have in there as a what do you have as far as an increase, it looks like?
We have a 5% increase compared to the amended budget in 2025. We also have an area down further where, well, we'll get to that, but to paint the picture, Dave is most likely retiring in the spring next year, and hopefully I can talk to him to stay a little longer. But we need to be cognizant of that pay for that individual. We have gold here, and whoever comes in, we need to be competitive as well. We've also, as we work in this budget, have worked in a line item for consulting services in hopes that if we do find an individual, Dave will also be able to come back and help bridge that divide until that person is up to speed. So we did include a little bit more funds in here for the executive salaries, which would cover, Dave's position as well. There was a small increase or decrease in the staff salaries. We basically maintained the same. And I believe we just had that down when we were trying to, balance out originally when we were first working through our numbers. That's why there's a little delta there.
But wait a minute, Mayor, I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
So there's not, if we're keeping the executive salary almost the same with just a slight difference, and we're keeping staff salaries the same, when Ms. Hall from FGU made her presentation, didn't she have a page that showed we would need to pay significantly more for both the director and the staff to be competitive? Because according to that presentation, everybody's retiring within the next year. Did I hear that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So
so
not everybody,
Not everybody, just,
all the,
just two. We have
right.
Dave and possibly John.
JT.
Yeah, JT.
Now, with that being said, we do have somebody that we believe, I believe you can speak to that, and someone that we hire that has background that Dave can bring up to speed in-house versus outside.
Like Duke, he's worked here before. He worked here about 10 years ago. I mean, to me, he's our only option for me to train because Logan's Logan's a big kid. I like
Okay,
him,
this
but,
is all
Yeah.
recorded.
okay.
Right.
I mean, I'm not-
You know, Dave, you've got what, 4 months or so to start training Ms. Jones?
Till
Yeah.
March.
Well, I'll be here probably till March, late March, so I'll have time, but there's a lot of things that you're just gonna have to, it's gonna have to happen for you to really understand what's going on, which he's already come to a couple things already, but Brandon, he's a single father. He lives with his parents. His parents were wanting to move, so when he leaves, they leave, he goes with them. JT's health is not good. He's gonna have open heart surgery here in 2 weeks. So we don't know what his outcome may be. So it only leaves Mike. So he can be trained in the meantime to go over things. If the Public Service Commission comes in and says, no, he doesn't have enough training, we have to have somebody more qualified
And how do they determine whether or not he has enough training?
based off courses that he would take, how many years of
Okay.
experience. But the other route we could take is Katie could possibly supply somebody that maybe comes in once a week, oversees what's going on, or if there's forms that need to be filled out, can assist in that. How much we'd have to pay them, I don't know. They wouldn't be an employee. They may be like with the budget and everything, where y'all get people to come in and assist y'all on the side and everything, possibly something like that. There's schools that Mike could go to get training and everything, because we used to have a gas school. We send all of our guys to, I went there at Sanford, we went there all the time. We got all of our training and everything. Gas industry changed, they did away with the school. Well, now I hear DeLand Natural Gas has just built a new school there, but it's for their only employees right now, but they're possibly gonna open that up to other gas systems. So, you're 30 miles down the road, those guys need to go down there for a week of training and all of that. It's great, that's great experience. But, it depends also too, how in depth y'all want my position to be. I mean, management, I learned the hard way, it just happens. But as far as financials and all these questions you're asking about, the non-taxable this and that, I know the basics, but the fine lines, I'm not a finance director. This guy is. Jocelyn, that's her job, but my job is to keep the gas flowing, keep track of the money, yes.
Understand the system.
Yes, I mean, because we have a big system, there's a lot of stuff out there. But
I will say this, I've reviewed some of the documentation, and Dave has done a wonderful job in making sure that there are SOPs set in place for people, making sure that there's policies and procedures for every action out in the field. I feel 100% that if Dave were to put trust in Dimadu and got him trained up, that there would be enough information there for him to take it and run with it. One of the line items that I did put in here that was a zero for the last few years was employee incentives. I put $1,000 in there. That's not $1,000 one single payout, but It's separate pay for certifications and associations, whoever gets in that spot, we could incentivize to say, hey, if you go get a certification, we'll give you $200 extra on your paycheck, something to that effect.
But Mayor, could I ask a question?
Yes.
When you say that spot, are we talking about Dave's director position?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're saying that, the person we would be potentially looking at for Dave's replacement would be a current employee named Mike
Dimity.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was not clear, but potentially we would still need 3 or 4 more employees, right?
Well, when I leave, if Mike takes my place, yes, that opens up a position in the field. Of course, when I say we're gonna cross-train, he can still work in the field, kind of go back and forth. If JT does not come back, that's gonna be an instant open position before I leave. So, yes, we're back to the same scenario, and if Brandon, if his parents move, well, you've got another opening. So then we're back to square one of no employees, because if Mike's sitting in the chair and going back and forth out in the field, he has no staff, he has no help. So,
Well, we can't take that chance either.
no, PSC would
Yeah.
come in and slam the door on us real
Yeah,
quick.
and so this is a hard conversation, and I think that, as much as
I know.
this is a hard conversation that we probably need to explore after the budget's over with, but we definitely need to explore. And with Katie, what direction is in the best interest of the city where it comes to
Yes.
this.
And I believe that FGU also said that they would be able to help to find those employees as well. Is that correct, Dave?
Well, they can, and it's like Commissioner DeVito said, well, that it's more expense. Sure, it's more expense, because you're gonna have to pay a higher level to have someone come in that's trained. But Tom has a scenario all set up. The gas department can make more money if we stick to a straight formula across the board. Yes, the customers are gonna have to pay more. That's a fact of life. We go to the grocery store, we gotta pay more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm a gas customer. Well, my other house is a gas customer, but I know how it is. But if we want to keep the gas department, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We have to face the reality of those charges and the upcharges. They're gonna be there. Otherwise, we have to take reality too, and it may be a different route, but there may be a route in between that too, partial help, certified partial help. But Katie is your,
Katie has
she's
said
your
that she
angel
can help
there.
us with,
Katie,
yeah.
Katie, because
Where's Katie?
our system is major to us, but to her, it's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket compared to the systems they deal with.
Mayor, could I just make an observation here?
Yeah.
Katie gave us a scenario of staff replacement to deal with the retirement and everyone else leaving. I have a lot of concerns. I think if we're talking about total staff turnover, even if Dave says he's not the budget person, I would be very concerned that we promoted a fairly new employee who doesn't have a lot of certifications to replace our existing director who understands the regulatory framework, the PSC rules backward and forward. To me, with this much turnover, we need to replace our director with someone with some significant experience, including in hiring and training.
Well, that's easier said than done.
They're up
I
the
mean-
number.
Right, well, Katie Hall from FGU, she gave us a figure and she did say, that they could assist, because I asked about the League of Cities new, jobs website, which is, and she said that they would have better connections. But I think we're taking a risk if we don't have someone experienced come in, whether they're on contract or an employee. I think we need that to basically reestablish our gas department. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having this existing employee be the second in command, because you have to plan for eventualities.
Well, he could be your interim. I mean,
Every manager should have an
Excuse me
assistant,
for-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just for time constraint, I think we should go back. Our mayor suggested that we talk about this after we get through. So I really wish we would get back on track and get through what we're talking.
I'm just saying,
I
this
think
is
right
a
now
concern that it impacts the budget.
That, and we are gonna have to, and when that happens, we are gonna have to take a
Yes.
harder look at this.
And it's fine.
Right
I'm
now,
not
though,
going
I
anywhere.
do want to bring something, I do wanna bring something up. And this again is a very, it's a very difficult, but when we're talking right now across the board with where we are financially, everything now, it doesn't look like you put a 5% increase in here because you're keeping it the same as where our amended budget was
Yeah, I noticed that as
from
well.
this last year. So there's
Which
not
line?
an increase. When you look at staff at line 25, you've kept it where it was, actually you reduced it by $45.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
So that means that we're keeping, at this point in time, salaries are gonna stay for this next year. Our employees, and every year since I've sat here, we've given an increase. They've gotten an increase, either cost of living or performance. This last year, they got a 7% just across the board, and if their performance, they got a 5%. So in this last budget, they got, most all of them, I think, got a 12% increase.
Okay.
We as a commission, given where we are, and this is a really difficult, because we value our employees, and I hope we've shown them that in the last 4 years. This year's a little different. And, we've got the taxpayers here, and where we're gonna have to do, what we're gonna have to do with our, making sure that we can hopefully come down on our millage from what we set it at. That might be something that we're gonna have to really look hard at as we move forward through this budget process. That, possibly this year, I mean, I know for years, the state, unfortunately, the state, there was no increases, no cost of living, no nothing from the state standpoint. We've also got DOGE that's gonna be in here looking, at everything. And that's a good thing, because it does show us, is there waste? Do we have waste? We have a fiduciary responsibility to our citizens. But, I just think that as we go forward, so it doesn't look like you've added it in here, but
It's added in other departments. This particular department, we went flat on the staff salaries only because of the known issues that we're gonna have in the springtime next year of losing Dave and adding, around, I believe, 30 or 40,000. We'd have to get into the budget again. But we added at least $30,000 in for consulting fees.
yeah, 35,000 is what you
35,000,
put in there,
right.
35,000.
So to balance it out, we did carry over what we had, previously budgeted, amended budget, which does include the increase from last year.
And I'm not even sure where the Christmas bonus is, so in the past, what have we done, Steve, 100?
Yeah.
100's been for the Christmas bonuses.
Correct. And on this one, it was thinking too, if it's flat, we're gonna give them a little bit more, these guys are in the field
I
doing
understand
hard
that,
work.
and
That was
we've
my
tried,
mindset on it.
and
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have done that.
Yes, ma'am.
But Mayor, just one observation. Okay, so to keep the gas department, it seems to me that the standard for expertise that you need for your utility funds, that we have to pay the industry standard. I mean, Katie said she didn't think that we'd be competitive, and she showed an increase. So at some point, it seems like we're gonna have to show that. And to me, it doesn't seem like it makes sense, since it's an enterprise fund, to use the same, whatever 5% standard. We need to gear it toward being competitive in that particular industry, but we're not there yet.
No, we're not there yet. And then pension, you'll notice as you go through these, everybody, our pension is like, where was that jump? If you'll remember, when we didn't go with the FRS, we compensated employees through that, up to that 8%. And so that's why you have a jump in our pension costs, because you'll see throughout, there's a significant jump there.
And explain to me why we didn't change over to,
The employees, I guess, my understanding was when they were looking at that, is that the employees, so many of our employees are retiring out, are retiring out, and it was not beneficial to them to go over to the FRS. That's something I think that as we get new employees in, that we really should consider, because that to me is a big bonus, a benefit, because if they were to move on to another agency with that FRS, they can carry that with them.
yeah, I think that's a real big deal to.
But
to
at
have
the time, that was the concern, is because, we have, you've got Dave, you've got Keith, you've got, Jocelyn, and a lot of JT, a lot of Herman at the time, all of them, to switch over was not beneficial.
Yeah, but most companies, especially with new people coming in, give you an option at this point. You stay with the old one, like I did, right? Because I had too many years in, or the new people coming in changed over to the different pension. And that's something that we really need to discuss.
I mentioned that to the city
Yes.
manager to look into if we can do if we can have both.
Yeah.
If we can offer both, and if we can, that would be advantageous, I think, and possibly, a big bonus for people looking to come to the city.
I think I remember Charles Rudd saying that it wasn't possible to go to FRS because they wouldn't take us unless everyone went, and they couldn't accommodate our senior management.
It's worth having the discussion again, though. It really is worth having the
That's
discussion again.
Just looking into it.
Never give up.
But, and then a lot, I don't know what the breakdown is, but in the Florida retirement system, which is state and county, and some municipalities, the employees now have the option to have defined benefit or to have the, defined contribution that's portable. And so I don't know how that would affect us. We could,
I don't either, but I think that's worth exploring again, especially as we get new employees. Okay, so we have any other questions on page 3 of 5?
I do not.
Okay, then let's move on to 4 or 5. What's the matter?
Nothing.
You're ready to start. Operational expenses at the top. I had this highlighted, trying to figure out where this came from, and what that $175 charge was. Dave had kind of an idea of what it could have been, but then we kind of ruled that out.
What's other post-employee benefits, it's, every year we get audited on that, and that probably should have been down in the audit, under audit expenses.
Okay,
So that's where that came from.
okay.
Yeah, because it wasn't in last year, so
Yeah. It was,
I don't know where it came from.
yeah, that's what that is though.
Okay.
Dave, can you explain how the Sunshine State one call thing works?
Well, I mean, everybody any kind of utility, whatever, has to be a member of it. You want to dig in your yard, you call 811, they call us, we respond out there. They charge us, they take all the calls they have for a year within a state, and they divide it up by how many companies are in it and how many calls you have determines what they charge you per call. So then you get a monthly bill. But that system, you have to go in there and highlight where utilities are. If you put in a big new development and you don't highlight that in there, they're not gonna get locates in that area. But, it's fantastic, you need it. A lot of people never use it, they just go out there and dig anyway, cut your lines, scream and cuss at them.
So if I dial 811 and call, you go out and you come out and you locate all of it, or just the gas?
Gas only, because
Okay, so there's something else comes out and does the water, or do we?
yes, most of the groups want us to do our gas. I said, no, we're not gonna accept that liability, because you get some new guy, and if he doesn't have a current sheet on maps, he's not even gonna know it's there. So We do our own locating. But it's like I tell them, if you don't call 811, you're gonna end up calling 911 because you're gonna have problems. But
I just have the little kids next door that take all the little flags and go throw them all in the yard as toys, so that doesn't help.
Yeah.
Especially when my water runs, my gas line.
The more building that you have, the more 811 calls you're gonna have. We have a couple of things that are gonna be coming up in this next year, new commercial and residential, of course. So people will be calling in for that. So we added $2,000. I know on the expense side, we may be a little bit higher. We could reduce it a little bit. But we are gonna anticipate growth with new projects and there will be more calls.
well, it's like when the highway widening finally does start, those locates are non-ending. They'll go the length of the project, so they may go 2 years. So you're constantly, every 30 days, that locate has to be updated by the law. So they legally have to go out there, repaint it, restripe it. And some of those jobs have to be done every day because the trucks and the equipment are just wiping the marks out. So you have to relocate every day. So you spend a lot on paint.
And don't wipe them out on purpose, because it's a
No.
huge fine. I think you can go to jail.
You can, especially if it's a high priority, like a high priority phone or gas.
Or
somebody
or
gets
electric,
killed.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
So if we drop down to line 44, let's go down to line 44, auto property general insurance. Last year in 2024, it was 56,101. We budgeted 55,000, looks like 32,000 has already been expended and now we're dropping it to 22,000.
yes, the reason that that's dropped significantly is that also includes the savings that we are getting with the new Brown & Brown quote that we received. And the other difference is that we have an allocation spreadsheet that was utilized this year to try to fine tune that. It wasn't utilized the years prior. But I went with Steve, we looked at that. We feel very confident that that number is
Well,
solid.
I obviously something was allocated correctly because it was 55,500 and it was 56,100 is what was actually the unaudited for 2024. So that's only a $600 difference. So
Yeah.
it came in pretty close. I'm concerned with this 22,000. I know
can't-
you said you've gotten a savings, but
Yes,
we
ma'am.
talked about this last night
Yes, ma'am.
to make sure that everything is apples to apples. And
Yes,
that
ma'am.
it's the exact policy.
Before we move forward with any of that, they're gonna come and do a presentation for you all and explain every line item in there, but we were, and I confirm, given a quote that was apples to what we have currently. What we have currently, we had to provide them before we even got a quote, so they could get in and figure out exactly we were getting covered, so.
So you were saying it looked like about a $60,000 savings, where right now that's about 32,000 of that. So
Correct, and
that doesn't leave much more.
the reason that that's there is because it's tying back what the cost is now compared to 2025 adopted budget. But in the $56,000, I can't speak to the allocation of that in that year. That would be Steve, he can probably talk to that. I don't know if funds got in there from something else and was paid out. I can't talk to that. I can only speak to what the cost is gonna be based on that allocation spreadsheet and how it was, utilized through all of the funds and spread. And we do feel confident that that 22,000 is the number. I will also say this, since it was brought up, I did not know when we received the quote that they were bearing their differences or their delta in the numbers by 2024 versus 25, or today versus their 2024-25 quote, meaning that we did receive our general liability quote this year from FMIT, and it went up $30,000. So by going with Brown & Brown, we're actually going to be saving $90,000, not 60. The savings though, is allocated, put in this spreadsheet and reviewed through,
When are they gonna come in with
Finance.
the presentation?
as soon as I get the healthcare. That's all we're waiting on right now. We've provided all the information, but they're also, brokering a healthcare, deal number right now through a couple of
The only
healthcare
reason
providers.
is because we're in budget right now, and so we need to know that this is something we're gonna go with. Otherwise, we're going to have to accommodate that $90,000 back into, or that $90,000 back into this
And
budget.
my plan is to have them do a presentation for you all at September 10th meeting that we have, or I believe it's the 10th. And that is the date that I've set for them. And so they have a deadline. And I would say Sheila jumped on it so fast and got everything to them, and we're almost done with the requirements of what they needed. So that's all we're waiting on.
And that September 10th is the first reading of the budget, right? Okay. So Mayor, I had a question about line 39 audit.
Okay.
So just there's quite a bit of difference between year-to-date June actual with what we amended and what we spent in 2023. It's showing year-to-date actual 4,335. We budgeted 10,400 and we're budgeting 10,400 again.
He had 5,000 only on the one that you got over the weekend. Now they've changed it back up to 10,000.
Right. I'm looking at the new one.
And where they were in, because where they were in 2024 for their audit was 16,290 at the same time. Last year. And that's what it came in at, 16,290 is their audit, is their, unaudited.
Right. So,
And
but now,
the reason for that big jump, or the 2024 audit, was they were doing multiple audits at that time. I believe it was you were saying 21, 22, or
We
22,
were all
220,
year for year.
22, 23, 23, 24.
I believe so, yeah, there was multiple years across there, maybe, yeah, I think it was 21, 22, then 22, 23.
Okay.
okay, but so my question is, right now, we're showing year-to-date June actual, we've only paid 4,335. Are we expecting to pay more to pay our gas department share of the auditors?
Correct, yes, yeah, we're gonna pay more.
Okay.
Also, if you'll go down to line 59, cost allocation general fund, you said unaudited 35,075 for 2024. But actually, the year-to-date for that, was 56,550. And so I don't know what happened there, but still, it should have been the cost allocation 113. Currently, we're
Yeah.
56,550, and that's across the board to everybody.
It is, Mayor, and the adjustment's been done, so that now is 113,100, so it has been done in July. So
So you're done, so you're
Correct.
good with that?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, and I'm not sure what happened in 2024.
I think there was an adjustment done in 2023 that shouldn't have been done, and then I think Julian was worried about cash flow in 2024, so.
It's been
So
done
they
now.
didn't pay no, it's been done for this year.
It's
for
been done
this
for this
current,
year.
Not for 2024,
Right.
but for this current, so that looks to me like then if the gas didn't pay their full allocation, that's happened several times.
Correct.
Yes, I remember that did happen.
Yes.
We talked about it.
Okay, we just want to make sure that. And then you put in here, I guess, we showed that our resale items, have gone up significantly. So you've increased that to 5,500. We're currently at 4,342, where we only budgeted 1,000 last year. And that's
57.
kind of stays in line with the resale. In 2024, you spent 5,809.
So I put a note on here after talking with Dave on that. So there is a premium for these parts. The parts that we're talking about here are ones that we purchase, but then we sell at a premium to the customer, correct, Dave?
Yes.
Okay.
That money's brought back, but it doesn't go back in the budget, but it goes somewhere, but
It comes in on
it's
the,
paid for and probably 35% on top of that.
yeah,
Is also
that's one of the line items. And then the revenue side, the interest debt service part, did they ever get an answer? And it says paying 5% interest in yearly payment for 1997 6-inch steel gas main Highway 17. Do we know how much more we owe on that and when it matures?
Yeah, I've sent, Derek over the spreadsheet, it goes up to like 2038, when it's fully paid off.
I thought it was 2038, that's it.
And is there a way that we can look into maybe
Yeah, I believe so.
refinancing that or paying that off early?
Well, I wouldn't refinance it because it's obsolete, they're obsolete.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
just,
so,
it's paying $27,000 a year.
Half that main doesn't exist anymore. Phase 2 of the power, 4-lane project,
Paid
they
off.
got rid of it
Right.
from East Black all the way up to
We were talking about that when Katie was here, like whether it's worth continuing to drag that out or if we could look into options, I'm just trying to be.
Well, sure, it'd be great if we could get a loan, I mean, another loan just to cover it at a lower rate, and just
Right.
get rid of it.
And not be paying
It's just
compounded
an
interest.
Well,
on top of the money.
but that was my earlier question, what is the principal amount that we owe?
I don't have that number, I've said it.
I believe it was in one of my city managers, recent city manager report, and I can go and find that and get that back to you all. But I know we did report that.
Mhm.
It would be
It seems
helpful.
like it would be definitely a lot cheaper to be able to pay off the principal and not have to until 2038.
Right, the problem is,
Or is that what you said, 2038?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It could be 2037, the spreadsheet's there.
so it was 1997 when we took that on, so a 40-year
1996.
loan, so a 40-year loan.
right, so the problem is how much is the principal and
And can be paid off. I mean, it's all.
When I get back to my office, I'll shoot,
You sent it to me, we have it.
I'll send it over to Mill and she can shoot out each one of y'all. It shows the spreadsheet as far as everything.
Okay, you feel like the natural gas purchase, the 190, we budgeted that last year. Right now, we're at 153,
It'll be within $10,000.
within 10,000?
Yeah.
Okay,
It could be up around 198, but
so you think it's gonna go higher than it has?
not by much. I mean, it's, like I say, a hurricane could change that, but it's fine. We can stick with that number.
Okay, well, in 2024, unaudited, it's 152,
Right.
so,
Have they started the tree project yet?
All done.
do we have,
All done except for 3 trees, which I have to get for somebody else to take down as owner, somebody else. I'm gonna put that in my weekly report tonight.
I just hadn't been trained on.
so we have,
That's good. Good news.
this green and the red, as we go forward, that dark green makes it,
Hard to see.
it's hard to see. So if you could come up with like a teal or
Yeah,
some
and
other
that was
color,
really for us, I should have taken that out, but yeah, I'll fix that, I'm sorry.
do it a teal.
Turquoise.
highlighting is good, but it needs to be something light and actually, I think, red
Well, yeah.
or yellow.
The digital version is fine, it's what it's about.
So if you keep it as it is, we're still looking at 26,000, 26,900
Okay. We'll work on that.
that you're gonna have to,
So basically, you're saying we're 26,900 short in our overall budget needs. And, my guess is we're gonna have to address some of that after we have the rate study.
So I do want to point out, we already talked about it one time, but something that we put in here that was not on any of the other budgets for the last few years is the other charges. We put 35,000 in, for consulting costs. So, that's your biggest added right there. And we'll have to look at the budget in whole and we'll balance it and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I see where you may want any input from me is if we do get the 7.5 million, because that's 28 miles of pipe, but that 28 miles of pipe's in like 50 different places. It's not just 28 miles of pipe and this, that, and the other, but, I mean, I've done reports on it. I have a notebook, probably 200 pages long of the project. It's already scoped out, it's waiting, but, And as Derek was saying, I sent out it's a 26-page daily, weekly, monthly, yearly process of what I do in my job and things you have to have by the end of the year, but it's 26 pages long. And, but I have to send y'all new ones because I updated, I had format things.
No worries.
But
You
They
know,
they
Sheriff.
pop up to me in the middle of the night, I go, oh, yeah.
I mean, that's quite a big difference, especially with us not knowing, having a positive on the insurance.
Well, one other issue you have too is I'm down a truck. I've put in probably $15,000 in this one truck since we bought it. We bought it used. But I said, park it. We're not giving Shepherd's Garage any more money. It's died. The transmission blew up. So you're probably looking at $1,500. It's a 2006. And the money's tight and all of that. When I leave, my truck's gonna be there for the driving, but if we start getting employees, they're gonna have to ride 2x2 or single trucks. Riding together, there's nothing wrong with that, they're training. But if something happens, one into the system versus the other, you got one truck.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You know, you gotta split up.
I'm gonna shift the code enforcement vehicle over.
We've talked about it.
I know that's another issue, another time, I'm just saying.
Just something to keep in
But
mind.
that's something for us to keep in mind, that as we go forward, that we're with the truck. Okay,
My trucks get driven, but well, the worst would be the meter reader truck. Meter reader truck, constant mileage every day, constant. But other than that, it's the gas department trucks.
okay, well, y'all got a job ahead of you to try to figure that, how we're gonna
Balance that
do
out.
that. Yeah, with that, if it's okay with everyone, I'm gonna take a recess. 5-minute recess.
Are we done with
And we're gonna move on to, which one are we moving on to?
Water?
To water?
Yes.
Isn't solid waste next?
It is.
Solid
Let's
waste?
can we get solid waste out of the way?
Sure. This was under wastewater originally, correct? We took it out of wastewater.
No, wait, I was out of water.
So was that water? Okay.
We haven't got any sort of,
So solid waste, we decided to just create its own separate spreadsheet and fund. It was originally in with water. These are basically, the fees, and the charges that we have had. I believe we've looked back at the garbage contract as well and have that base contract. We received a letter on July 1st, 2025 for that. And so we put in the number of 166.
what do we get?
He's not provided us with a copy of that letter.
Okay.
So if you want to explain that letter to everyone, and please bring your microphone down so people can,
Sorry.
that's okay.
We did receive a letter from our garbage contract and Waste Pro. And based on fees for their new contract, I will provide you all with that letter. It was just received, I believe, last week, was it? I believe July 31st. July 31st? Okay. I know I gave it to Steve and we updated it based on that letter, so I will get that to you all. Steve, you want to explain this letter?
Yes,
It was just a letter, just explaining the rate increase.
Okay, well, wait a
They
minute,
are doing a rate increase.
Yes.
wait a minute, wait a
Because
minute.
we have to pass ordinance for that too.
Well, do we have to pass the ordinance for the rate?
Yes.
Yes, I know, I thought.
For the rate increases, so that's gonna have to be a discussion that we're gonna have to have because
Yes, we did.
that's gonna be more that the residents are gonna take on. And we probably need to get that advertised as soon as possible because it might be that the residents, they might say, let's do away with a Thursday. I mean, we've talked about this before.
We have talked about this and.
If we do away with the Thursday, because depending on what that rate increase and just to get from Waste Pro, what the difference would be if we were to do away with it with the Thursday as a savings for, the residents. I know a lot of residents like that Thursday pickup. I seldom do I have much, but I guess Waste Pro can also tell us, they can tell us, they know pretty much the difference from the Monday pickup to the Thursday pickup. But we're gonna have all that, yes,
They're
they should
gonna
be there. Yeah.
A couple things before we hop to the Thursday issue. Normally, the letter from Waste Pro is distributed to the commission. Secondly, it has to be verified that the formula they use for their increase has to comply with the contract. Because there's a figure in the contract, and I know Commissioner Lori is very familiar with the contract and the figure, and one year they did not do it correctly. So, and also, as has been pointed out, yes, we have to set our fees by ordinance. So letters like that really should come to the commission immediately, so we can get all that in motion. But the other thing is, it's my understanding that the county's recycling discontinues at the end of the fiscal year.
October 1st, the
Right.
recycling.
And, I was just looking the other day at the difference in volume and what we put out that occurred. There's going to be a considerable difference in volume as to what goes into the trash cans versus when they quit recycling. There's gonna be a lot more volume.
Steve's gonna go ahead and he's grabbing the letter right now. And I'll be honest with you, Commission, I was unaware that it needed to come in front of you all, but as soon as I did find out, it is gonna be on their September agenda.
And I've put that needs to be brought to the
Yeah,
commission.
it is on the September agenda.
But you go forward then, we need to see this and y'all need to verify that the contract, that they've followed the contract.
I'll do the calculation, it's easy.
And when does it, do you recall when it says it was going to increase?
Should be October first.
Yeah, should be.
I believe it's the next fiscal year.
It's October 1st, okay.
That's what they've done passed.
We should try and get a comparison, whether, if they pick it up one day or 2 days. We really need that comparison.
They happen to run into,
Heather,
No, Heather wasn't there, but Dana,
Oh,
Dana
Lori
was
says,
there.
Dana was there, well, Heather was there, I saw
Heather
her.
was there, because
But
she
I-
wrote me and
Yeah, I
said she
saw
was
her that
there.
night, but I talked to Dana the next day and had mentioned to her about our dumpsters. And that the fact that we were, gonna be discussing maybe in the future, the dumpster conditions, and she said that she would get with Heather maybe and look at them and see if they could repair some of them, clean some of them up. So I said, well, that would, be probably helpful since we're gonna be discussing it in the future. So I just mentioned it to her. I know her from Alachua, she was fun. She said that she's
Dana
looking
was
to it.
over here, well,
Yeah,
she's been over before to,
she was very understanding.
when we were getting the toter, she was part of that.
But I also asked her, about smaller toters, because apparently they do have smaller toters. And she said that it might be possible if we have people that are disabled or elderly that don't want such a big one. She could set up a program with City Hall approving it and then them bringing out smaller toters for those certain customers. And I said, well, that sounds like a really great idea, we should bring that back to the commission.
Right, but it's my
Because I know
understanding,
people complain about that.
do the trucks have the automatic?
Yeah, they do have the,
Yeah.
not the arm, it has a tipper on the end.
The tipper, they set it on the tipper.
Yeah.
Now, I was in Naples a couple of weeks ago, and they had an arm, and it actually came out as they were going down the road, picked it up and dumped it, but ours is a tipper on the back.
So someone has to,
Put it on there.
that it takes a person, right, yeah.
Oh, I also asked her too about the doors, the gates on the enclosure, and she said, well, that's what we do. We open enclosures and get the dumpster, and that's,
Okay, so do you have a copy of the letter? Did you make copies?
He did not, but I will
Okay,
go
well,
make
we'll
copies
just
of
go
it.
ahead and give us the gist of it, if you would.
Yeah, and it says, according to the first addendum to our solid waste collection service agreement, this letter serves as a petition for our annual cost of living rate adjustment. Due to the increase in cost of fuel, wages, insurance, cost of equipment, parts, and shipping, we have been incurring over the last several months. The rate will adjust to $24.06 per house starting October 1st, 2025, based on the current CPI calculation. Waste Pro is proud to be a community partner to the city of Crescent City. We really appreciate your business. Should you have any questions or concerns, please contact
does
us.
it attach the calculation, the spreadsheet?
And there's a calculation spreadsheet as well. We'll make copies. I'll email this to you all today if that's okay,
Okay.
a PDF copy. And this is also part of our agenda for September.
Okay,
I just have
so
to
you,
check.
so you put that new calculation in here for the charges for,
24 cents.
okay.
What is it right now? How much of an increase is that? From right
And
now?
that was an increase from last year's.
Well,
It just said that on the other page, it's like 22 or 23 something, set up at that.
Okay, so it's about $1.
Yeah, about a
Yeah,
dollar.
it shouldn't be too much.
Yeah, it wasn't very much.
Based on the CPI of, for wastewater and utility.
So then we have our $2 administrative fee, correct?
Right.
So that would take it up to 2606.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's a calculation there to the comments to the right. That's how we came up with our number.
I think here, when you're looking at this, where it says total charges, just so there's no confusion, it's because it's all on one page. I would probably highlight that total charges for services.
It was
Okay.
yeah, oversight on my side.
Yeah, I do
It's supposed to
something
be
so that
bold.
there's a delineation there.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
supposed to be bold.
So then we go into our expenditures and the garbage contract. And that's how much that increase is gonna be, Steve, is the 6,000 or, I guess, 5,700.
$5,700. That's the increase, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
That's
from
the
the
difference.
contract.
Yeah.
Okay. And from that, that's what goes back to the general fund. So we decreased that, we've decreased that back to the general fund, the 13, by $586. Why did we decrease that?
I just think the amount we had the prior year is probably just a little bit high if you look at if you look at 2023, it was 15,000, you look at 2024, it was 13, so we're probably right there in the middle.
Okay.
Okay. Even with the increase?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mayor, I just had one
Person,
question.
our councilwoman, yes.
So I'm sure I could find this if I looked on last year's budget, but it's showing 575 customers. Do we know how many customers we had last year?
And that's a number that we give them every month, right?
Yeah, we get
The
that.
number of households.
Jocelyn does
Yeah,
that.
yeah, Jocelyn gets us this number. And that was just based off of, I believe May.
Okay, so
So
that was
that's very nice to hear.
Correct.
Yeah. Once, back in 2005, they just picked a number and stayed with it, and it was way too much. Because we had stopped updating them every month, so.
Yeah, that was an actual number from Jocelyn.
Okay, do we have any other questions on this?
So according to my calculations, it's just a 77 increase to our residents. Is what?
How much?
70 cents.
70 cents?
Just for you to know.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I have anything else for solid waste. Oh, except I will say, I do believe the last time they raised the rate, and I noticed they say it's a petition,
It's a petition for that, yeah.
because I think we have to approve
Yes.
that too.
Mhm.
In addition to the ordinance, I think we have to make the decision as whether to approve it. But I think the last time we did this, we weren't timely for the budget, and the ordinance was retroactive for the start of the fiscal year.
You'll check on that, please, before you bring it to us in September.
Because that's what we have to do, the water wastewater rate increases.
So are we gonna go to water or wastewater now?
Water.
So we're gonna go to water.
Oh, I had
I have wastewater.
I had wastewater.
Wastewater is first.
Yeah, let's go to wastewater.
Mine got all mixed up.
Yours did, they all are mixed up.
All right, we were scrambling to get larger sheets in for everybody, so they would be a little easier on the eyes. All right, so we'll start at wastewater charges. As the note says, a 5% increase in water rate. We decided to be conservative here, utilize the last known audited number of the 496,000 in the 2024 unaudited version and increase that by 5%.
And that takes us to the 521.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so our year-to-date last year was 371, and we're at 407 now. So we have had an increase. And we budgeted, how much did we budget for that? 450,000, and we came in at 496 in 2024. Okay.
Now, this next line, the 10% sales for maintenance, is that the repair and replace fund? Is that the 10% repair and replace? Because then that does not need to be going into the budget. You can't be spending that money, that needs to go out.
Oh, the 52, 150, okay.
Because that's a separate line item that has to go into a separate fund for maintenance and repair and replacement of the system, of both water and wastewater. Because that's been a problem.
Yeah, because we haven't
for years,
budgeted, it wasn't budgeted, we haven't budgeted that. That doesn't go into the budget.
Right, what line are you?
Line 33.
So it needs to come out?
Yeah.
It doesn't, yeah, it shouldn't go in there.
Okay.
It needs to come back out and go into a separate fund.
Did y'all look at the historic, I mean, how we've done these, like last year's? Did you look at last year's budget when you were doing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the spreadsheets from, use the same spreadsheet.
You don't know why we put that in there.
Yeah.
That's why it's out.
Yeah.
Last year.
I know. And I thought on one version you had it out, maybe it's on the water side. But yeah, that 10% needs to be, we just can't count that as operating income. It has to be in a separate fund.
Okay. We'll look at that, Steve.
So I know that kind of blows the budget there a little bit.
So our cut-in charge, so you're expecting that we're gonna get more cut-in, we're gonna get more services?
We do, we're expecting more services. There are, more homes coming in, a couple planned developments, so yes.
If they come in this year. So
Yes.
they come in this year. Okay. So you need to back out of that, so you need to back out of your total revenues, the 576, the 52,150.
Yes.
Hold on a second.
So what does that do
That's
to our net?
524, 698 is what that number comes in at. So when we go back over to,
Taking out the 52,
and you've got to, gotta try to, on these next pages, and I know that, but it would be, hold on, let's see if I can, it's on there, it is. On the last page, and I know it's a carryover on that last page with the titles. So you're showing 46, so we need to back that, you need to back that number down right as we're going forward right now. 46. 987. Okay, so we have a $5,163 deficit.
are you on line item 61?
No, she's just
I'm
adding up.
going to the net position.
Page 4 now.
Oh, okay, net position, okay. I must be missing that.
Okay.
I don't see that.
Page 4.
So do we have, as we go down this page, do you have any more, the question I had on the Bay Street, that was for 2025. Doesn't seem, did the money not come in? What happened? And now it says it's gonna take place in 26. So that for, where is the money?
Page 3,
Yep, that's CDBG.
Didn't you say the project was gonna, it was happening?
Keith here.
It's going
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, Keith, I'm sorry. Keith, you were hiding over there. I couldn't see you. I can't believe, I could not see you, Keith.
Good job.
You're getting so small over there.
I don't know how you missed me. Yeah, that's gonna be CDBG when it comes in. We're hoping it's gonna, it could release this year. We're waiting on them right now to do their final review of the paperwork.
Is that part of the North Main?
Yes,
Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had them, for that grant, we had to include something to do with wastewater.
Right, to get the
So
qualification.
so we're gonna do a list of generator, chain link fence, all underground service. They're gonna redo the panels. And it's also gonna have a, dial-up phone system.
To dial, to call if there's a problem,
Yeah,
so to call.
that's gonna be a cost too, that's gonna be added, because we gotta put in a phone line.
Yeah, it's gonna have cellular, so.
So,
Okay,
but we don't have to do it yet.
I know, but I wanna hear from him.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it would be nice if we had it on all of our stations, but, it's not in the budget this year.
So we had it in last year's budget.
Yeah, because we were expecting to get the grant, but it just drug on and drug
It's
on.
drug on, okay.
And now, like I said, Jason them's waiting on them to send the paperwork back. And once they get it, they'll send us a letter to put in the newspaper and on the website to advertise. And then they'll go out to bids.
Okay. So, but we do think we're gonna get it this year?
We should. If they hurry up and get done studying it again.
That all started when we started the water main projects.
We've been working on this one for a couple of years. Actually, way before we started all these other ones.
When you're involved with this, right?
I was.
And part of it is there's a floodplain management thing or something that was weird, and they had to go back to get it all reapproved. I think I read that somewhere in your, maybe your manager's report. But it is moving forward. I noticed we did an advertisement for it already, right? And
It's
so it's-
all underway,
Yeah.
yes, I mean,
so it is moving forward, it's just taking forever.
Slow.
Yeah, so very slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any other questions on this page?
Come on, page roll.
I'm on page one four.
Okay, well, just I had just one general question, maybe two.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Yeah, well, just a general question about the whole system. For wastewater, do we have any customers outside the city limits?
Keith?
Wastewater customers,
Yes,
well, we do, we got the schools,
that's one, okay.
yeah.
So we have the schools, and then, someone asked me this the other day about both wastewater and water, and I don't know the answer. Is one or more of our personnel certified in wastewater operation?
Yeah, we have two dual license operators,
Okay, and
Jason and Chip.
Okay, Jason and Chip,
we have to have that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, state law.
that's what I thought, but I did not know who, and what is Chip's last name?
Van Dyver,
Oh, that's Van Dyke, okay, because that's not, right, he goes by Chip,
yeah, his name's Herschel.
got it.
What are they, class A or B, or what is their licensing? It's class B. Oh, it's class A, okay.
And I guess,
Yeah, it's, I know they're, what is it?
But they can go in between each, right, water?
Yeah, both of them can run either plant, and they can go anywhere else they want to and run a plant.
I'll just say here,
I was,
like in here.
I was pretty confident we had the correct certifications, I just couldn't say who it was, and the person who was asking seemed very skeptical for some strange reason.
I can't imagine that,
I'm just telling you, they weren't.
whoever was asking you.
I was very, very positive that we had that.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I have a question, but it's on, in a line on the next page.
Moving on to page 2, personnel services, staff salaries. We gave you the split out there, and I believe that does hold increase, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so 5% is what we're at, okay. So that does have 5% increase for salary for staff members.
Well, you say that, but for the amended budget, it's 88,443, and I'm looking at 87,998. That's a decrease.
And I believe, did we pull that off of the adopted budget or not? Not the amended budget?
Well, it should be,
Are we calling the same?
it should be after the amended budget.
You should be going to
I know. That's what I wanted to
Because that's a $5,000 difference between the adopted.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna add 5% on top of that. So. And we're, yeah, the dollar decrease, that's off what? Because that's 4,598, but that's not that much of an increase off, but it's a decrease in the amended budget.
Yeah.
We go off the adopted budget there.
Yeah, for some reason, it's going off of the adopted budget for 25.
Yeah.
So that line item has a small decrease
So if that's the case,
from the amended budget.
that's an additional $4,598 that we've got to.
No,
Well, it's showing there that that's
it's it's the same as the amended budget almost. So it's not an increase or decrease, it's kept the same.
no, but he's showing here in his dollar increase. It's not gonna show over here, but he needs to change it over here
Yeah.
because that's another, to show it as a.
It should be increasing by $4,422.
That's what you want to increase the 87,998 to?
It should be around $92,800.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
we went through this, several occasions and we must have slid over into a different cell when we were doing the math, so.
So 92,596. So again, when we come over here, that puts us in an additional 4,598 deficit on top of the 550,100 we already have.
Right, and Mayor, I apologize if y'all already went over this and I must have been looking on a different page. The revenue for the wastewater department, these numbers are like, pardon?
Usually there's a new version.
Well, whatever, I just have a general question. The revenues are predicated on us adopting an ordinance increasing wastewater rates by 5% for this year.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're assuming we're gonna raise those rates.
What we passed an ordinance, it said we would have raised the rates.
So it's.
We're still on that plan that
Okay.
the Florida
Got it, got it.
Association gave us. I
Right.
think it's still 2 more years that we raise it 5%. And then we go back to CPI after that.
Then we drop down to the CPI.
Okay, just wanna make sure I was straight on that. And I had a question about line 17, which I think is overtime, which when I look at this, it seems, what do we budget for overtime?
The amended budget was $2,000. We've utilized $341 this year. $2,000 is definitely a placeholder for overtime. I mean, as Keith can tell you, you can have stations go down, in the middle of the night on the weekend. That's what that pays for. And-
Hurricane, when, I mean, you know, like in the evenings when they're having to be out there pumping in the evening.
Right.
So I mean, so my question was, is it enough?
Yeah, in 2024, it was 1228.
Yeah.
And it's spread out between that and the other
Correct.
departments, so
Correct.
I think that probably is enough. Right now, we're at 341.
Just because, I mean, we haven't hit the bad part of the year as far as storms. Okay, just checking on that one.
No, but we did in 2024, so,
Right.
and we still stayed within budget. Now you come down again, you've got a $300 Christmas bonus. And you've spread that out over these. I had a question from before, from last year's budget. Because when we looked at last year's budget, it said 1/3 for Keith Harris, 1/3 for Ronnie Grant. Now we're going to 1/2 for Ronnie Grant, 1/3 for a vacant position, and 100% for Chip. So this vacant position, what's happened with that? Where's that vacant position?
That was from last year's budget, Keith? Because we
We
don't have a
obviously have
vacancy, we don't have a vacancy right now.
Yeah.
We're
I
fully
don't
staffed.
know, I don't know why that was in there.
Okay, 1/3 vacant position, it might have been, did we have a vacant position somewhere in Public Works last year that spread out?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where it was from last year. So this year, that position's been filled, but I don't see it accounted for here.
It was filled like, I think 3 months ago, that final position.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying is, last year we took that into account. Their salary was still included in this, and I don't see in this area right here that it's still, so if you would please, so that's 1/3 for that vacant position, to see how that position's actually funded.
yeah, we probably really need to get with Sheila on that too, to find out exactly who is getting paid out of what departments.
Yeah,
She'll know more of that than anybody. And, because I know I'm paid out of wastewater, water, and
yeah, you got 1/3, you're out of it.
Okay, Mayor, I've got a question. So are you saying, are you in line 16, the notes on the
Yes.
side?
Yes.
So are you saying that we actually have an additional person
last year in our budget, when we budgeted last year.
Yes,
1/3 for Keith Harris.
Right.
1/3 for Ronnie Grant. We've changed that to 1/2 for Ronnie Grant.
right,
1/3 for a vacant position and 100% for Herschel, which is Chip.
okay, right. So my question is, from what I've heard, we did hire the person.
We did, it,
And so who are they and what box do they fit into?
well, that's what I want to know. It looks to me like possibly what you did is you took that vacant, that 1/3 out and possibly moved Ronnie into that, because he was 1/3 last year and now he's 1/2 this year in wastewater. So I just want to make sure that if that vacant position, that we've accounted for that vacant position somewhere in the budget.
Yeah,
And we will. I have a question for the commission though. I'm working off of somebody else's work, trying to get history for what's been done prior to myself being here. I've updated a lot of the notes. This we worked on, we updated some, but the vast majority of this note was in here. Is it confusing to have that there and to have sidebar conversation on that piece? Should it be out?
No.
And we talk about the budget from what was spent before? Do you want to see those breakouts on the side of?
I want to see it.
Because honestly, I mean, for me, looking at it, you see a comment that says 1/3 Keith, 1/2 Ron, 2/3 Keith Harris, here and there. But there's no cost difference in line items for that, so you're still looking at a total amount. So that's what I'm getting. I don't want to confuse you guys and I want the process to be smooth, and have information, but I'm just wondering if it's too much information and we're getting down a path.
Never give us too much information.
Okay, all right,
Especially where
just
the
making,
budget's concerned,
just
from
making
a
sure.
transparency standpoint. And I think that's where everybody understands that 1/3 of Keith's salary is gonna come out of wastewater.
Okay.
Well, is the question really, do you wanna see what that 1/3 actually is?
Correct.
That's the question.
That's my question. I don't want to give too much, but do you want to break out those
So
costs?
Keith, you would get $5.
Correct.
I'm worth every bit of that.
So in the next page, you get your other third, so now we're up to $10. Okay, so that's what it's looking like.
So
we want that broken out
Even
like
more
that.
so, yeah.
Okay, so we would have the salaries and we would just put position 1, 2, 3, 4, break that cost out, and would that be sufficient for you all?
Yes.
Okay,
Not position 1, 2, 3, 4, you're gonna have to, we need to know
Well,
who
yeah.
they are.
right.
well, and Mayor,
Yes.
just a couple, well, number one, I still don't see what is the name of the person who works either in streets, wastewater, or water? Who's the new person who was hired?
Jodeci,
Joe,
Jodeci,
Like the singer, Jodeci. Or is
well, that
that?
doesn't help me. But is that the last name or the first name or the whole
that's his
thing?
first name,
Jodeci, okay.
but I can't tell you his last name.
And,
I
but
can't remember.
anyway, so this new person, Jodeci, works in which department?
He's in Parks and Streets,
Okay,
so that's something I said we need to get with Sheila on to see who's getting paid out of where.
And it looks like possibly that's been moved because I think that 1/3, we just need to make sure that that vacant position is properly funded where it needs to be funded.
What
It
that
looks
one-
like it got moved from Ronnie because there was probably,
Yeah.
he's not doing anything with wastewater.
Right.
Ronnie's really,
Ronnie's water and wastewater,
Yeah.
he's a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
I mean, Cecil might still be in wastewater, he was at one time, but he probably should be taken out of it and put in basically,
Yeah, none of these notes are correct,
yeah.
from just looking at them, I don't see.
Well, it's something that just keeps rolling over every year.
Yeah. So
right,
anyway,
but,
you gotta clean that up.
We will.
so to me, what would be helpful is, yes, put, the positions and what the actual amount, so it will be clear that they add up and you didn't omit anyone's salary, as you move between the departments. And then particularly for these enterprise funds where there's the shared employees, and then you need a notation, it would be helpful to have the names of the positions, like just a separate page that says who they are and that shows the split. So, you can see that on one page.
Would the commission be okay if we added notes underneath like we have on other pages with the breakouts there? keep the line items the same with the proper code and then just have the breakout underneath. Is that okay for you all?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as you
I'll
can read it.
I'll do that, and then we'll update the note as well.
Okay, because, you know, when, you Steve?
Right, hold on.
Okay, so as we go down this Medicare, is there someone that's getting a Medicare supplement? Who would be getting a Medicare? None of these three, Ron? No, none of them.
No, I'm not getting,
You're not yet.
I turned 65 this year.
Chip's almost 70, right?
So is that why that's been put in there, Steve, for the, because we haven't expended any this year, and we've got it in last year's 1513, and we're doing 1276 is what we're budgeting.
This is probably an allocation issue. It's up in FICA. Medicare is up in FICA.
But I'm thinking that the Medicare is possibly the supplement that we give, that we pay when someone's gone to Medicare, because it was like that way in gas, because we do that with Dave.
I think it's chip.
Chip,
It's chip.
So chip is, so
Yes.
we supplement chip.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
that's what we needed to know, okay?
I'll put a note to the side
Just
there.
make sure,
Mayor, I have a question.
yes.
Okay, as I understand it, you said it's a supplement, but I was thinking we pay their Medicare in lieu of them taking our health insurance.
That we reimburse, yes.
Right,
They're
but in other words,
yes.
their Medicare is completely in lieu of the employee health insurance, is that how it's working? Okay. So for that person, we don't have a health insurance cost. But we are paying their Medicare.
Nor have we added Keith in, because you turning 65,
In October.
okay? So for the full year, so we need to add Keith in.
Yeah, for this.
But don't next year's budget? Don't the employees have a choice?
October.
They have a choice, I don't know. I mean, I think that would be whatever you determine. I know, I don't know what your plan is, so if we need to add that back in, please make sure that before we finalize this budget.
Okay, actually, I believe I'm just gonna take Medicare A, that way it don't cost nothing.
Right, but Mayor, it seems,
Because Cecil's on Medicare A,
Okay,
and he's not getting any reimbursement. But Dave's on, A and B, so that's where the cost is coming in at,
okay.
right,
and so is Chip.
but Mayor, it's
Yes.
my understanding, when you turn 65, if you're working, you can either choose to go on Medicare, or if you have qualifying health insurance, you can stay with your employer health insurance as long as you're employed. And if you get family coverage, you would pretty much have to stay with your health insurance, because if you went to Part B Medicare, then I don't know what would happen to your family
Well,
coverage.
we're not healthcare, so
No.
please make sure, you three, please make sure that you've taken care of this before we go into.
Well, the gentleman explained to me last week about it, he just said, are you gonna stay employed? I said, yeah, I have no choice. He said, we'll take Medicare A.
Right, but that's hospital and it doesn't cost anybody.
Right.
That's automatic.
Right, if I take B, he said it would be like
160, 180,
140
maybe.
or something, 40 or 50 bucks a month.
I'd like to budget that in there for Keith.
Well, just make sure before we do that, but we need to make sure that this is, because you just said you thought Chip was on A, and if that's the case, then we still have a Medicare. We need to know what this Medicare expense is.
I think Chip
Chip is on A and
A and
B.
B. Chip is on A and B.
Cecil's on it.
Yeah, Chip's on A and B.
Chip is on A and B, okay. I just wanna make sure.
And I guess my whole point of what I said is,
Correct.
it may make a difference if for somebody who has family coverage.
That's
Sheila,
true, that's a
may not
very good
want
point,
to
I'm sorry, we are, this is public, on public
Right,
record,
well, I'm
this is
not
their
speaking,
insurance.
I'm not speaking to any one person, I'm just saying, as the commission and for our city manager and doing the budget, we may not want to automatically assume that every employee who turns 65, that it will be beneficial to them to take Medicare.
Yeah.
So that's, I think that might be an individual decision.
So if you'll just get clarification,
Yes,
And we don't, and you're absolutely correct. Thank you, Christina, for bringing that to our attention, that this is not, so, and we get down to health and life insurance. It looks like we've expended out already this year $16,239, but we're only budgeting $11,200. Now, we do believe there's going to be, a reduction, but still,
yes.
we,
And Sheila's looking into the differences. I couldn't tell you right now why. And her, and Steve both are looking into that right now as we speak.
okay.
So I'll have an answer on our second read on that.
And with this, with the budget of 2026, it doesn't appear that there is an increase in that, correct?
Nope. Correct.
Okay. Do you have any more questions on page 2?
No, I don't.
Anybody? Let's move on to page 3.
I have a question on line 36. Yes, it says bad debt. Okay, we constantly have, is that folded in to the water shutoffs? Because we constantly have a running total of bad debt in the utilities department.
I think that's more collection of bad debt, so that's the collection fee we would pay for bad debt.
Well, no, it's the unpaid, we have unpaid.
I know that, but
Bills.
on that line,
Right, what-
36, collection agency.
But why would that be wastewater? Would that, we write all that off usually, and I mean, there's zeros all
There's
across.
zeros, and I don't know why unless it's just a
Fine.
placeholder there.
Right, what I'm saying is that, do they lump it all together?
It's not, there's
It's
nothing.
unaudited, so back in 2023, that's why it's probably still there, because back in 2023, there was $21,244.
We're in line 36?
No, on the previous budget,
Okay,
previous budget. In
Yeah.
2023, it was $21,244. Have we not collected, have we not, last time that we
I'd have to ask Jocelyn.
went to the collection, okay.
I'm just saying, what is the status of that? I don't see anything for bad debt, and we always have a running total, some kind of utilities bad debt. I don't know what the answer is. And then also we have a bond debt at line 48.
That's the wastewater.
That's the money we're still paying rural development, right? For the wastewater treatment plant.
Yes, sir.
It was $14 million, and half of it was a grant, half of it was a loan.
Yes, sir.
Do you know when we paid it off? Like,
I don't know.
Can we get some information on that so that when we do? And we put in there, I guess 27, but shouldn't that go down year over year?
and it has over the last,
And it has, so it should go down, year over year, and we're going up.
we just need to check that out.
So we've gone up $1,900.
I'll get the payoff info for
And
that.
I would think that would be going down, so if you would check on that, that's possible that we could.
I know in the past, we've gotten in trouble with the auditors for being deemed for not having that money set aside properly. I don't know if it was this bond or other ones, but we need to keep an eye on that, make sure that that's allocated properly, that we have the right
Correct,
You
covenants.
know,
covenants.
how much has to be set aside for that?
correct, yeah, and they do a whole test on that.
Right.
Okay. And we have it set aside, correct? The way we're supposed to?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because we got our, they figured that out last year.
Okay.
One thing I wanna bring attention to is line 35. We have nothing in this line item right now because I'm actually waiting on a cost from CPH or Midtower, as you guys refer to them. This is because of the long consent order from the FDEP that I brought up to you all in our last meeting. The fine is $15,000. I'm not sure what the study's gonna cost, but I assume that the cost could be in excess of that. It's an awkward situation if you ask me. I'm not quite sure,
Awkward in what way?
just because the way it happened. And Keith can probably tell you, but I mean, the state told you where, at one time, a few years ago, where to put those wells. They didn't have the right information, and now we're popping off, nitrates,
Numbers are-
and the numbers aren't right. And they didn't know where they selected the area to be, but it was right next to an old drain field. It's not fair, in my opinion, that the city takes direction from the state on where to put something, and then they turn around and fine you for it.
Okay, so we're looking at a fine of 15,000, and you're thinking that there might be more, that we're gonna be paying more than that for what?
For a groundwater
For
study
the study.
through our engineer. And what we were told was that we wouldn't get fined if we opened up a permit and had the study going. We were also told that we would only be fined one time. A one-time fee, a one-time fine, even if it popped in tests down the road. It's just a Gestapo to me.
Well,
Okay.
Chip has been fighting this, I think, hasn't he, Keith?
Yeah,
Since-
he has.
Yes.
Tooth and nail.
to
Yes.
nail for this, yes, Commissioner DeVito.
It just occurs to me, perhaps this is an item that we should ask our state representative or state senators to look into, how you can have this illogical, system that does not have a provision for relief. Because that would be something that they could potentially address, or even, maybe decide to give us a credit for the legislative appropriation. But if it's really, if we're really in a box that FDEP made, maybe they would want to address that. I don't know if we'd be the only ones.
I think, did you say there's only one other one
Yeah,
in the
this is
state
very
like this?
rare situation.
There's
There's
only one other one in the
other-
state like this. Has FDA, have we gone to, who have we gone to at FDEP, as far as, how far up the chain have we gone to discuss this issue?
I mean, Chips went quite a ways. Did you talked to Herndon Sims, right?
Not yet. He was gonna try to get a meeting together with us.
I think
Yeah.
that's where we start. And then Commissioner DeVito made a very good point, that if that doesn't work,
I mean, they might be able to make an inquiry for
then they
us.
could make an inquiry, they could do an inquiry for us. But I think we start and we go to the head of DEP if we have to, and
Yeah, there
say,
was only a couple of places that had these wells. And one of them was, the golf course in Palaca, which are doing the same thing, but now they do deal with fertilizer. We have noticed that Chip said, because we haven't been mowing it, well, when we mow it, that grass rots. And then it puts out nitrogen and then, of course, it spikes the wells.
Yeah.
So we're looking into,
We have to mow the ribs, right?
and we're looking into somebody to come in and cut the grass and haul it off, whether they do it in hay bales or whatever. And the DEP said we are allowed to do that, we just have to keep track of how many bales they haul off.
No, I don't know a lot about how these wells are actually installed, but it would seem to be you have a well and then the grass is around the well, correct? Now, is there any?
Well, they got rock around them, but it's just like a well like your house.
Okay,
But they're shallow.
They're shallow, 50 foot deep.
I mean, when you say you got rock around them, how much,
Probably 2 to 3 feet.
you know, I mean, I was just gonna suggest, does that have to be further? Does it need to be 6 feet
I
out?
think it's just because it leaches into the ground when it
Yeah.
rains and everything rots. And then the dead grass still lays on top.
Okay,
A lot of it never goes away.
Because the whole idea is to monitor, to make sure that the water coming in the ribs is not too high in nitrogen and not percolating down into the.
so that's something that quite possibly we're gonna have to find that money if it comes in. When will we think that they would be finding us? Would it be this year? We don't know.
I
Chip
think we've been
believes it
dealing
could
with this
be-
a couple of years already.
Yeah, Chip said he believes that it could be as early as September this year.
This year?
Yes,
They could find us,
Yes,
okay. Well, that's something that I think that we need to reach out to the higher ups at DEP and see if we need to have a conversation, even if we have to go to Tallahassee and meet with them. We start with them and explain to them. I'm sure Chip's got enough, documentation to show that everything that we've done.
He does. I
Um,
have a full write-up on it and explanation, but yes, he does.
cause that's at a staff level that they're doing that, so we need to.
Yeah, I think Mount Dora or either Popka has these same wells, and they've had a big problem with it, but I think
If
they
it's a
finally.
Popka, probably it's. Popka, I can't even, yeah. Well, they have all that, from Lake Apopka,
Yeah, that's what.
all that,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
those nitrates. When we come into here, there was something else, and I guess up here, this equipment repair and maintenance, we put 50 in it this year. I guess that lift station, 67,000, we had to take out of there, but we didn't have enough in there. So somehow or another, Steve, that we're gonna have to account for that in this year's budget. Because that's gonna be, because we only had $23,000 budgeted, and that was 60, how much was that lift station?
67,000.
67,000.
So you're at 89,110, and we just need to find out where we're accounting for that shortfall for this year.
I thought we were gonna take it out of the wastewater emergency room right here.
I thought that too, and I asked him yesterday about, are we sure that's the funds that should come out of? Because I thought that was coming out of,
That's the purpose of that money.
yeah,
Yeah, that's for maintenance and improving the system. So that would come, that's qualified to come out of our,
so,
that's for, you know,
so,
that's the line item at the top that we took out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
so probably just make sure that Steve, that that's
Allocated to the correct.
Yeah.
properly, yeah. Is there anything else on this page?
I just wanted to get a quick clarification about line 43, where it says membership and training. So do we, that's the Florida Rural Water Association renewal, so I'm assuming
It's different.
part is different?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, thank you, Commissioner Gory. All right, what does it say?
It's on there, it just has the $300.
It has what?
It's $300.
It says Florida Rural Water Association renewal, that's what she was saying.
Right, so what I'm, yeah, it's the same thing, so what I'm asking is,
There was like 3 places on the top.
right, do we divide that? There's another one in water, is the total 600, and we just divide it between the water and wastewater?
Is that what you've done, Steve,
Excuse me?
with line 43, with the Florida Rural Water Association renewal? Did you divide that up amongst wastewater and water?
I believe so. I think that's what it should be.
Okay,
Okay, the total.
probably want to make a note, if you'll make a notation somewhere, that this is 1/2
Yeah, the other half
of
is
the
more.
annual fee,
Yeah, it is.
just so there's a notation there, so there's no confusion.
Yeah, the other half is more.
Again, if you go to if everybody goes to line 44, cost allocation, general fund,
That's what you said.
Yeah, so the number's actually over, correct?
Yeah, $760 over, but we're up. So we're 145, what, 760?
Right.
So I just need to back out $760.
It's already been done.
It's been done.
It's been done.
no, I know, but I'm looking at last year.
Chemicals and total money.
Oh, the 72,500?
Yep.
It was the same issue as previous where we probably didn't do it because of half of cash.
So again, they've had a shortfall, there's something happened there,
Correct.
so we need to find out to make sure that we don't have that.
But the problem is they're approving or replace $52,000. That's always been put in there as revenue. And so we look at it and it's all balanced, but that 10% replace doesn't come in.
It wasn't in last year's.
It wasn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I went in last year.
Um,
See, budget zero.
What's that there?
Maybe it's your fault.
This line item.
You know, it doesn't give us a clear picture if we include that.
Well, we can't, well, we haven't, so that's why I'm saying, what's going on here? Let's make sure that our numbers are,
And so Mayor, I have just a question about the audio and everything, because I noticed, Steve's microphone is not right in front of him. Is the sound system picking him up?
Yes.
It is picking up, okay. Thank you.
okay, do we have anything
That's
else?
important.
Appreciation, we're zeroed out on depreciation, and we depreciated out everything?
We don't budget for depreciation.
We don't budget for it, okay, I just wanna make sure, we did back in, I guess
Yeah,
that's
that's-
just, that was the unaudited, okay.
That's,
I'm asking him,
that's the
let
audit
me ask him.
adjustment.
okay, thank you
Yeah, the auditors do it, and
for clarification on that, okay,
the auditors send that as part of their.
they'll send that for our
adjustments.
depreciation, okay.
Yeah, actually, that's fine.
Okay, is everybody done with wastewater? If so, when we want to finally water, I think we want to do water first, didn't he?
Our city manager has been trying to do water since we sat down.
I'm excited about water, there's something exciting about water.
Right, but Mayor, before we leave wastewater, so you've been adding it up. We don't have a net positive end position. We have something to make up. so-
Yeah, we have, I showed 9,761.
Okay.
Commissioner Lori, did you have something else?
No, I was.
Okay.
Wait, how much do you have there?
I have 9,761.
Okay.
We're gonna have to make up, you're gonna have to make up somewhere. Okay, water.
Exciting.
Again, you got, you have line 5.
Needs to come
Yeah,
out.
we're gonna take that out.
So line 5 comes out.
Yes.
Mayor, I just have my standard question. How many customers do we have? And, do we have any outside the city limits besides the school?
Yes.
Anyway, I think that's just, yeah.
No, it's just gas, you're right, it's water, so I know it's gonna be water on there.
Yeah. That's just gas at the top.
That's just gas.
And if we don't know, could we just know later? And someone who has a business and is over by 309 told me they pay a city water bill. Do we have a water
By
bill?
309?
Well, over in Fruitland.
No.
I cannot imagine.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do we have water? No, I don't think so.
No, that's,
For the water.
I can't think of the name of the utilities, but it's in River Park
River Park
Utilities.
Utilities, yeah.
Don't. Anyway, so much for that. I just wanted to see if I had missed something all these years, because I did not think we had any city water that far out.
A lot of them get confused because it's a Crescent City address.
Well, I know that,
Yeah,
and I
that's-
inquired all about that, so.
That's what gets everybody confused. They think they call here every time they want water in Fruitland,
Yes,
and you gotta tell them to call River Park Utilities.
and permitting, but anyway, but we do not, the short
No, ma'am.
answer is we do not. But we do serve the school for water?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we do, okay.
The school, the old YMCA, what is it, Asia Health,
It's out there.
and then, got a couple houses on that road, and then we'll have the new school.
The warranty.
The
We serve
coffee,
the fire station there too, do we serve that fire?
not
station?
yet, they never did do it, I guess, because we were in the process of building this new one eventually.
Okay.
And, the coffee shop, Cindy Flimsy is.
Oh, they own it too?
Yeah, they're on water. And then, like I said, the new school.
And then at the new school, there's gonna be a tank and a pressurization system.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because to keep the water pressure and the flow going out there.
It's supposed to help both ways, supposed to help this, the high school and supposed to help bring pressure back into town.
Because will be just a ground level tank, or is it gonna be elevated at all?
No, it'd be
Ground level
around,
tank with high surface pumps, I think. Okay. And they're in the school building that and then dedicating it to us.
Service charge, so the service charge looks like in 2024, it was 13,000, we still want to keep it at 10,000, we feel like that's pretty accurate, we're at 8,300 now, okay, that's conservative, keep it there, it's conservative. Cut in charge, 3,000, do we have anything else there? Okay. Come down to the grants. Looks like that 500, that North Main CDBG, that hasn't, but with that, it looks like that we've paid out 6280 on that.
yes, ma'am, to mid tower.
And where did that come out of? Do we know?
We had, I'm pretty sure we had to open up a checking account. And
That's-
some money
yeah,
went into
that's the
that,
one we opened the checking account for.
yeah. And then they wrote a check to mid tower for some of the work that they had done on the CDBG.
Okay. But, okay. And this one, I guess with the South Main, with all of that, that was when we were mixing because one came in higher, one came in lower. Is that right? Remember with the other grants? The Main Street and Prospect?
Yeah, well,
I think Main came in higher, Prospect came in lower, but maybe vice
no,
versa.
Prospect would have been higher.
Higher,
And then we added Main Street, we used some of the appropriations money
yeah,
to help pay for that.
okay.
Because the grant for that side was a little lower. And we got permission from the state to use.
I remember it was one of, that we were able to, that they gave us permission for that, okay. We've got our 700,000 in there for the Lake Argenta that, from the appropriations.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions on this?
I have a question about the emergency.
Okay.
I mean, we asked for twice that, 1.4 million, but the state gave us half of it. Do we currently have a plan for what we're doing?
We're working with our engineer, correct, to come up with a plan based on the money that we're allocated
For,
for
Lake Argenta.
Argenta.
And the tower one.
no, we're also doing a cost share. St. John's Rehab is gonna pay some of it, so that's gonna help us get a lot done on Walnut Street and then help us, most likely, we'll be able to finish out Lake Argenta.
Okay, that's good news. Good job. Make it work.
Okay. Go over if we can, let's go over to page 3 unless anybody has a question on page 2.
This really got messed up on that salary. We have the same thing on the salary here that happened on the other. I'm not pleased with that. But so we need to get that fixed and we'll take care of that. That is gonna increase that.
Okay, some of this we just covered with the rest, like insurance, they're waiting for the quote. Kind of tracks the others.
On the staff salaries, that should be 101,437. And that's based on 5% increase from the amended 2025 budget. find out how that changed. I'm confused how that happened, because I could have sworn we checked that.
You also, if you'll check on this from the, as your, looks like your FICA's gonna have to change too.
Yeah, all of it.
It's
All of that's
It
gonna
all
have to
be adjusted.
change. Yeah.
Yes.
Shoot, that's just, they should change the numbers.
Insurance. And workers' comp. I guess, is there anything else on this page?
Couple of the things that, one thing that I was putting in here for the guys, on water, of course, is updated training with the state certifications. I just put $2,000 in there for the employee incentives for those state certifications and other classes that might need to be taken.
Okay, I think that was in the notes on one of the other
It was.
enterprise funds, and that's certainly helpful. I mean, particularly when this is put on the website so people will know what that means.
Yes, I will fix
That it's
that.
not just employee incentives, that it's certification.
Yes,
Certification training, or however you wanna.
I'll just
put
copy the
something
other,
on that.
yes,
The we will talk on the Christmas bonus.
capital we. They had 300 in here, I have been 1,500.
But there's an overlap in the personnel. I
Sorry,
mean, there's an overlap, it's the same personnel.
correct. It would have to be split out between.
Jason's
between-
added into this one, instead of Chip,
Right.
so, but it's still at 100%.
And we'll fix those notes as well and add the same notes down at the bottom,
Right,
split out.
I'm not sure how bonus splits out, but it's some overlap, okay.
Yeah, because over here, because when you look over here in wastewater, which these same employees, you've put,
300,
you've put 300 there, you've budgeted 300 there for the
Right.
Christmas bonus. And then over here, you've budgeted, the 1,500, so that's 1,800
yeah, and I think
for employees.
going back and forth, I was trying to think about what we could do for the employees at each employee getting at least around $300 for a Christmas bonus.
Seems like a mistake.
It was. I'm sorry, did I say it? It was a mistake.
Is everybody done with page 3? Okay, let's go to page 4.
Okay, I guess my only question about, the money in line 28 for water testing and miscellaneous services, we haven't spent what was in the amended budget, so I just wanna make sure we allow enough for any inflation or increase in testing costs, since that's a must do. As long as we're sure that's accurate.
Are you on line 28?
Yes, yeah,
Came
just,
in 24 at 7,269.
and
And I can say the water testing, by law, they have to have a certain amount of testing done per month. And
Right.
so this is, fees that we incur every month. We felt
Right.
confident going in with the amended budget amount, which was close to the expended amount of 24 as well.
right, I'm just saying, since that's a must do, we have to make sure that that's accurate, we have to do it.
Correct.
And then if something, as I understand it, because we had this in the prior year, if something comes up, bad, then you have to do more testing. So that adds to it, and so that's an unknown. I had a question or observation about line 39, the, fire hydrant maintenance and repair. Was that the ARPA fund?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so to me, it would be helpful to note that that was ARPA funds.
It says ARPA
Can
three.
I put that note on there?
You'll put the note to the right hand
Okay,
side.
sorry, I made my notes on my original one that I was given, so it does say ARPA.
Yes.
Then, also with respect to ARPA, we had to obligate it all last year, we did that well, Mr. Brohart was our interim manager. Do we have a status, have we spent all the ARPA funds?
Right.
Can you hold this?
Wasn't some allocated for migration fund? What,
We haven't, I don't know that we've spent all the ARPA, but we have definitely designated, all the ARPA had to be designated by December of last year.
Correct, and we've done that.
And we have
But we spent
designated, and we have designated
Right,
that.
Because that has to be spent by this December.
right, or,
I don't think it has to be spent, I think you just had to allocate it.
well,
It
there's
had to be
also,
allocated by last year, but it has to be spent by this.
There-
Okay, that's what it was.
there is a deadline to spend it.
Yeah, I thought it was this December, you know.
That's kind of what I thought too, so I'm a little worried about that. It seems like it would be helpful to have,
Make sure,
A
because
separate
I thought it
sheet.
was 2026.
Well,
For some
that's-
reason, I thought it was April 2026.
whatever it is,
So let's make sure, Steve, if you'll just check on that for the ARPA funds to make sure.
right,
But there is a deadline.
Yes.
right, there's a deadline, and since it's, what we obligated it for was pretty significant, infrastructure projects, you gotta get your ducks in a row to make sure that, you're going to be able to spend it.
The obligation deadline is December 31st, 2024.
Right.
The spending deadline is December 31st, 2026.
2026.
Oh,
So it is
2026.
2026. I thought it was
Okay, so
2026.
that's
So we
good.
still have a year and
Okay, but it
5
would,
months.
Okay,
it would be helpful if we had
And I apologize.
a listing of what we spent and what is
We do need
obligated.
to have that, we do need to have a budget on, a page on that so that we have, so we know where we are on the ARPA funds. That's very
Yeah.
important.
Correct.
You did our
We
last,
need to spend it.
we did our last report.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I got that report.
Christina or Michael or you. But you did at the December obligation line, deadline.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Michael,
like 3 hours, my brain
yeah,
is
Michael
not working.
Hart started it and I finished it right after you left.
But I remember Steve did a report and made sure that that report got where it needed to go.
Yes.
Thank you.
So if we go to, Keith, if we go to line 45 and it says operating supplies, in 2024, we spent 77,659. We budgeted 63,000. And again, we budgeted, when we set this budget, we didn't have those final numbers for 2024. So now we're still at 63,000. Where do we think we're gonna come in? We're at 46,853 right now. So I wanna make sure that we've accommodated that.
And that one, that's just Maureen and it's.
Yeah, the thought process behind the number was to hold what we had last year. We haven't quite gotten there this year. We still have a few months left. This, like other materials, I think Keith and I have talked about shopping. We've already started doing that with some of our asphalt materials, and cold patch materials, which we found significant cost savings there. I think in line items like this, we're just gonna, even if we go lower, but where it's at right now, we're gonna look for cost savings everywhere we can.
So Mayor, I have a question about, speaking of ARPA, line 51. It says water main on Main Street design ARPA. It says we spent $438,000.92 on that this year. Did that come from ARPA? Because the ARPA money total was $768,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And I know we spent some on fire hydrants,
Mhm.
and we spent a significant amount on the New Moon Lodge, correct? Did we used ARPA funds?
Now we use it for the middle school.
Well, we used it for the middle school, but I'm pretty
So
sure
we use it for the.
We did use it for the,
for the board,
50,000, not 50,000, we used it for the other,
The first responder.
yeah.
we used it for the one they gave the conceptual design and the analysis. I'm just saying, there's a little note there that says ARPA, and is it correct that is all of the $438,000 ARPA money?
I'll report back to you on that. We made a note of it. We're gonna hunt it down.
It could be. I don't
Did y'all
know.
say, and we separated out, solid waste was separated out last year too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it was separated out.
Mhm.
It was here. Okay. I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure. I thought y'all said you just did that. When we go to the water fund, I just want to check on this real fast and see where we are and compare where we were. So last year we were at this time 58,399, and that's in our operating supplies. This year we're at 46,853, so we're a little less than where we were last year at the same time. Okay. I just want to make sure that we've accounted enough at 63,000.
I have a question on line 57. You have the South Main site appropriation of, 439,145. I'm just thinking about what I'm thinking here. Did we have to use that ARPA money as a matching type grant to go with that grant?
That's what Commissioner Peter was just asking about, they're gonna look into that and get back to us. 'Cause they're not sure where that number came from.
Well, Commissioner Burton was saying, her question I thought was a little different. She's asking, did we have to provide a match?
I probably did that.
I don't think that was a straight appropriation, wasn't it?
Well, it should have been, that's why I'm asking.
So restate your question again.
I'm just curious, the dollar amounts are so close. I'm just, and this was for a design for that, for the water project, and then this was part of the water project, 439,956, so I just
Yeah.
wanted,
I was just have my, that was that.
not everything.
I just was just asking the question, should not agree. Yeah. I can't list it anymore.
Okay, is she on the check?
I hope so, but I need to back out.
What do we need to do?
Do you have some? No, I don't, she is the one.
Oh. Okay, let me get out of your
I
way.
just need to leave, and that's okay.
Where are you gonna go?
I just will, because I'm okay. She is coming.
Huh?
She's on her way, I'm in more pain. I'm starting to stop, so it's not good.
I'm gonna recess for Talk about being hungry.
We need to go home.
Meeting is back in session.
I think we're kind of done.
Do we have anything more, on page 4? As we go into, let's go to page 6. So on page 6, keep in mind that you're gonna have to back out, that you're gonna have to back that,
10,000, some 21st.
no, you're gonna have to back out the 46,516.
Right.
So that's,
To back that out, plus you have the change in the expenditures for the labor as well.
yeah, and then the cost allocation, again, in 2024, cost allocation, these, doesn't look like that,
And I think that one's at 132.8 as well. Can you check your spreadsheet real quick?
it is 132.8,
We'll see.
but the transfer was only 43,811 in 2024.
24.
So last year, that's, if you'll just check on those, Steve, just to make sure,
Yeah, 32.
because it doesn't look
Okay.
like they're meeting those, none of them are meeting those cost allocations.
And we just verified that we did transfer the 132.8 for this year.
We haven't, you've already transferred the full amount this year?
You did the rest of July, yes,
You did everything in July?
Correct, yeah.
So it's all gone in July for this
Correct.
year, but not for last year?
correct.
Okay.
Megan,
Yes, ma'am.
with regard to those transfers, and basically the city just floated it to them in prior years. At one point, I made the suggestion that we treat that as a loan to be maybe paid back in the future. I think you said, well, they already owe us money. I know, but, that's something to consider, because if we do get more customers and we do get into a better position, then ultimately it could be paid back to the city. That's just something we could consider.
That's something we need, absolutely, that we need to make sure that we're keeping an accounting on that to know, and we have that from prior that I don't believe we have not written off either. Remember, we had considered that, and just moving us forward, that we would write those off in the past, because there was quite a balance in the past. And we had talked about that, if we could write those off or not, remember that, Steve?
Correct, yeah.
And where are we on that? We don't know.
Did you ever vote on that? How are we gonna do that?
I don't know, let's look into that and see, but as we go forward, we need to make sure that we're keeping up with that, because like what Commissioner DeVito said, if we do end up having a, windfall at some point, then that's something that should be, and then how it can be compensated back to us.
Right, because we're talking, Mary, you made the point before, we're talking about utility users, and they're supposed to pay their own way. Although they are.
Yeah, these are
residents,
enterprise funds, and they're
Right.
supposed to be paying for themselves plus,
Right.
yes.
As opposed to, if we ever did repay the money, then that could help the general fund in some way.
Really should be making money, I mean,
Yes.
ultimately, and that's what I know with us trying to get these, and I know we're not the only municipality, I know just across the board, you hear it from multiple municipalities, they've gone through rate studies, and they've held off on doing rate changes, and they've had to catch up, so they're doing catch up now, just like we are. Thankfully, we're ahead of the game from where we were, but, just, we need to make sure that we keep up with that. Do we have anything else? Christina, you wanted to talk about, the colors, that we were gonna get some colors.
Yes, as far as the painting of the 2 city buildings, we'll, be taking some paint samples, the repaint samples up today, and maybe just swatches on the wall, so that you all can decide on the color.
Well, and also, so they're gonna be on the outside walls? Well, I don't know, we could put an easel up and, some chalk and
let people make a vote. I mean, we could let the general public know and
Oh,
ask for comment. I don't care. I mean, good, bad, ugly.
they wanna get it painted,
I don't wanna lose the
something.
quote. I don't wanna
Well,
lose
she
it.
doesn't, and she doesn't wanna lose her quote either, so I'm sure that if we paint it on the outside of the building, we will get ample interest.
Just very, well, sorry, whenever Christina's done, I have
I'm done.
something quick to say.
Yeah.
Good, okay, so Commissioner Warren and I went to the annual conference. Each of us brought back quite a bit of information. Some of it's for the city manager, but some of it we probably should share with the rest of the commission about, well, Commissioner Warren shared some today about, Waste Pro, about grants that may be available and other things. We went to some very good sessions, and Commissioner Lori, we went to 2 sessions on Doge, and one of the, Doge and, the policy committees. Did any of y'all go to, Commissioner Burton, did you come and go to the policy committee?
I did not.
Okay, so the policy committee meeting, and this is quite important, covered 2 things, and some of it was covered in the Northeast Florida meeting. They're very concerned about the select committee on property taxes. And they emphasized to us that our best opportunity to communicate with our state legislators is before January 1st, before they enter into session, because then they'll be talking about putting something on the ballot. So, and they have a package of materials. That was Jeff Branch's
Jeff,
presentation.
he gave that too.
Right, and then as well for Doge, there was quite a bit of information, that was available for download. I don't think I properly saved it on my
I would
phone.
ask for it,
Yeah,
I
well,
requested
Commissioner
it.
Lori has it.
okay.
And it may be on the FLC website, but there's 2 parts to this. Number one, the local government audits are gonna be completed by the Department of Government Accountability by September 30th. They were very adamant, if they come to your house to audit, don't change anything, don't erase anything, just leave it the way it is. Interlockins, getting a Doge visit. Then the governor wants a report by January 1st, and he wants some legislation. So we are going to have to be prepared for that. And then apparently, under the new law that was passed, the controller, whoever former senator or whatever Iglesia is,
Our new comptroller.
yes, controller, he retains auditing authority. So the governor's office audits are gonna be completed in the fall, but the controller retains continuing authority. So that's an important thing, but apparently it's likely we will be looking at legislation.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, but they were, very clear that they want us all to do our part about the property tax issue and the educating of our legislators. So,
Okay, I've asked for that, and we've also asked, requested that, and Betsy is working on that, I asked her if she could get, I think at the Palaca, hopefully at the Palaca, when they're gonna do a Doge, they're gonna have a speaker over there on Doge.
the Palaca,
North Florida League of Cities,
oh, got it. You mean for the September
for the
meeting?
September meeting, yes.
And may I ask, I haven't kept up with it, but I keep hearing Doge is coming again. I've seen 2 exercises now with them and getting the information, but is this something that they mandated, or the governor's mandated to go to every municipality, or are we being?
But it's in the PowerPoint. The details are in the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
You may or may not get a visit. There's
But
a lot
act
of.
as if you're going to get one,
Gotcha.
is that correct?
Pardon?
Act as if you're going to get one.
Yes, and quite frankly, this was about an hour and a half of presentation from the director of the governor's Department of Government Accountability Department. And after there was so much detail, I quit writing, and I don't have to look at the PowerPoint to see what additional requests for information and or visits will be coming. So that's in the PowerPoint. It was very detailed.
Thank you.
Don't worry, we're not considered a blue city. the blue cities seem to be getting big already.
Well, I was told that that was not totally it. That's the purpose of looking at the PowerPoint, and Interlochen is getting an in-person visit. So apparently, staff was very, clear about this. You don't have to be blue.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that.
No, I know, we're not, but,
Gainesville got hit pretty hard.
right. But apparently that was the first round, and they're not leaving.
I think several of them,
Everybody out.
Broward, St. Pete, so it looks like they're moving through and they're just, anything that's throwing up red flags. So we just need to be,
They're
we just need
gonna,
to be
they're
ready.
gonna get us by getting rid of the taxes. No more property taxes.
And I think that's something that with those, that's probably, Commissioner DeVito, did they talk about that? Because they are looking at how, as what that impact's gonna have, and if there is waste in municipalities and counties based on property taxes.
It's,
Ad valorem,
That's what I'm most worried,
yeah.
honestly.
well, the objectives, I mean, the request from the League of Cities, and I think it's very smart. Once something gets on a ballot, local governments can't spend any money to oppose, a ballot question. That was put into law years ago. So your main opportunity to let your, legislators know about what you use your tax money for and how much of it goes to police and fire and non-negotiable things like roads is very, very important. The strange thing was they talked about, are you getting a return on investment from your local government expenditures? This was from the head of DOJ. They talked about, have you looked at your contracts lately? They talked about specifically, are you making payments in line with your contracts? Apparently they look at everything. Some of the things I thought the, the chicken was calling the duck a bird. I mean, they were critical of local governments for some things that I think state government does. Because the state puts a lot of requirements on us, but they talked about a lot of specific things, like how much are you spending on contracting versus in-house, for example. Well, state contracts out a lot.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
But those, they were looking at very, he was saying they were looking at very operational things.
Okay.
But,
Okay,
Mayor, if I may, Commissioner Lori is fine, he's with Rachel.
okay, great, thank you. Thank you very much for the update. Do we have anything else? Anybody else? We good? We'll see everybody next, our next one's next week, correct?
it's, Thursday the
Yeah,
28th
Thursday, I believe.
at 10 a.m.
Yes.
I recommend you bring snacks.
Okay, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna adjourn the workshop. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.